Dole Prasad Aryal elected House Speaker unopposed. RSP Chair Lamisane says no discussion yet regarding Deputy Speaker nomination. Nepal Supreme Court orders schools to start students' enrollment only after exams and academic session commencement. Nepal registers 352 foreign employment fraud complaints in 1 month. Department of Foreign Employment releases names of individuals. Foreign Affairs Ministry terms posting fear-inducing content illegal, says evacuation of 84,420 citizens from Middle East nearly complete. Middle East tensions escalate as Iran strikes UAE, Bahrain and Israel. UN Security Council delays Hormuz vote. And Chennai Super Kings take on Punjab Kings in IPL showdown today. 10-team tournament builds up to final clash on May 25. Hello there, I'm Diksha Awasthi and this is NTV World Primetime News. We are coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere, it's 13:15 in London, 22:15 in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. The details now. Dole Prasad DP Aryal, Deputy Chairman of Nepal's Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP, has been elected unopposed as the Speaker of House of Representatives. His sole candidacy was registered by the deadline today, and he will be formally declared Speaker in the House meeting on Sunday, April 5. Aryal's nomination was proposed by RSP Chairman Rabi Lamitane and supported by several ministers, including Swarnim Wagle, Sobita Gautam, and Sunil Lamsal. Elected to Parliament from Kathmandu's constituency number 9, 51-year-old Aryal previously served as Deputy Leader of the RSP Parliamentary Party and Acting President of the party. Aryal has also held the position of Minister of Labour, Employment and Social Security on 2 occasions before. Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP President Rabi Lamitane has stated that no discussions with other parties have taken place regarding the post of Deputy Speaker. Lamitane made the remarks after registering the candidacy for the Speaker, adding that such discussions will occur only after the Speaker is elected. Addressing the media, Lamitane emphasized that his party and his leaders remain under public audit, ensuring transparency in all discussions. Lamitane also clarified that the party will act without prejudice or revenge, focusing instead on delivering justice. Lamitane highlighted that the priority will be securing justice for the family of the martyr, reflecting the party's commitment to citizens' expectations.
हामी पहिला सभामुखको सकौं त्यसपछि अनि त्यसलाई छलफल गरौँला भनेर हामी उपसभामुखको छलफलको चरणमा चाहिँ प्रवेश गरेका छैनौं अहिले.
Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has been engaging elected members of parliament from all 7 provinces to discuss the country's comprehensive development plans. Prime Minister Shah met with parliamentarians from Gandaki province at the office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. During the discussions, MPs highlighted key challenges and solutions in infrastructure, health, agriculture, tourism and river management. The parliamentarians emphasized upgrading the Siddhartha Highway, noting that it would boost economic growth and tourism across districts, including Sangja, Palpa, Rupandehi, Kapilvastu and Kaski. Earlier, Prime Minister Shah held similar consultations with representatives from Kosi, Karnali, Sudur Pashchim and Madhes provinces. Nepal's Supreme Court has issued an interim order requiring schools to begin student admissions only after the academic session has officially started. The order issued by Justice Bal Krishna Dhakal emphasizes that admission notices should not be published before the annual exam results are released, and required documents, including mark sheets, are submitted in line with the Education Regulations 2059 BS. Every year, Nepal's new academic session begins on April 20. And the court stressed that coordination between exam results, session start and document submission must be maintained. The Ministry of Education and the Education Development and Human Resource Development Center had previously directed that admissions follow the completion of exams and session commencement, but some schools recently ignored this guideline. The court has instructed the concerned bodies to comply with the law and ordered a written reply within 15 days. 11 Nepalis have been arrested in West Asian countries from posting photos and videos on social media that spread rumors about the ongoing war between Israel, the US and Iran. 4 were detained in Saudi Arabia, 3 each in UAE and Qatar, and 1 in Oman. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said posting such materials to incite fear is punishable under the law. Spokesperson Lok Bahadur Paudel Chhetri added that embassies are being informed about the arrested citizens and efforts for their release are underway. Paudel also stated that 86,420 Nepalis have registered for assistance with returning home, and the rescue of those in transit is nearly complete. We're going for a short break here. More news coming up. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're with NTV World and this is the Prime Time News. Now the remaining updates. The Department of Foreign Employment under the Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security has announced that formal complaints related to foreign employment fraud were registered against 352 individuals in a month. According to an official notice, First Information reports FIRs were filed at the department's Investigation and Litigation Branch between March 1 and March 31, 2026 against the 352 defendants listed in an attached schedule. The cases concern individual fraud offences linked to foreign employment. The departments also published the names of the defendants along with the public notice. The government has started sweeping change in the foreign employment sector, beginning with the medical checkup. The move to allow migrant workers to do health checkup in government laboratories at a cheaper cost has come as a welcome relief. Our correspondent Anjir Singh Biswakarma looks into the issue.
Nepali workers going abroad for employment are now free from the compulsion to visit expensive private medical colleges for health checkup. The government has started the facility of health checkup in public hospitals and reduced the fee for orientation training to 700 rupees. Earlier, the workers had to pay high fees as they had to go only to designated private medical practitioners. The workers have welcomed the government's decision as a huge sigh of relief.
आर्थिक मन्दी छ नेपालमा रोजगारको व्यवस्था छैन रोजगारको सुविधा छैन यो विगत जुन सिन्डिकेट प्रणाली लागू गरेको थियो त्यो अहिलेको सरकारले पहिलो चरणमा खारेज गरेकोमा म यो सरकारलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु.
The Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security has meanwhile made the provision to provide orientation online as well. The ministry believes this will be cost effective as well as transparent.
Pre-departure orientation training भनेर हामी दिन्छौं त्यसको चाहिँ शुल्क 700 रुपैयाँ काम गरेको छ. वैदेशिक रोजगारमा जाने हाम्रो श्रमिकहरूलाई स्वास्थ्य परीक्षण गर्न सहज होस् हैन त्यसपछि उहाँहरुको एफोर्डेबल होस् सहज होस् सजिलै एक्सेस होस् र यसरी चाहिँ स्वास्थ्य चेक जाँच गर्ने संस्थाहरुको पनि कम्पिटिसन बढोस् भनेर हामीले चाहिँ त्यो निर्णय गरेका हौं.
The government's move has ended the monopoly of private medical practitioners and laboratories, as well as erased the mediators from the scene. The ministry has also warned of stern action against anyone not abiding by the ministry directive.
विदेशी रोजगारमा पठाइदिन्छु भनेर विदेशमा पठाउने प्रतिवादीलाई 3 देखि 7 वर्षसम्म कैद र बिगोको 50% हर्जना समेत भराइदिने कानुनी व्यवस्था छ। सोही अनुसार प्रदायक हुन्छ।
The government's decision is believed to reduce the financial burden of thousands of migrant workers. Although many have welcomed the move, some are skeptical about its effective long-term implementation.
The government, as per the party's commitment paper, had jumped into action from the first day as the office. The government's directive to allow migrant workers to do their health checkup in government facilities have come as relief to many aspirants. However, some are skeptical if the move will be accepted by the employer in the destination country, or will the move be sustainable. We asked Minister for Labour, Employment and Social Security, Deepak Kumar Shah, how serious the government is in implementing the decisions.
I would like to assure everyone, and especially the diplomatic mission and the employers, that the capacity of Nepali laboratory and health system is as per international standard. So you can have a trust on our system and our laboratory capacity. As you all know that the laboratory which we have at the government level is ISO certified as per international level. I'm looking forward to have a connection with diplomatic missions here through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So when we talk with them, communication with them, so that they can realize the capacity what we have. So we'll be soon having a formal diplomatic communication with them, so that it will be easier for them to accept this process and facilitate the policies decision done by Nepal government. We are fully committed because we have a faith on our system, we have faith on our policies, we have faith on our laboratory capacities. So we have, because we have set a standards. We have set a standard to regulate the health facilities, medical facilities where these tests are taken. So we are regulating these medical centers as well as our government health centers. So we believe our government health centers and laboratories are par standard with the medical centers where these employers send the people to do medical examination. My first priority would be we are trying to mitigate the Samadhan call center problems, because we are really focused on solving the problem issues. Fraudulent issues, especially the fraudulent issues of the migrant worker. There are around 40,000 cases pending at Department of Foreign Employment. So we are really focused on mitigating and decreasing the number of cases, fraudulent cases. So we have already started the process. We have already initiated the process of mitigating and neutralizing the numbers. So the first priority goes to decreasing the number of fraudulent cases and decreasing the number of new cases as well. If any education consultancy, travel agency or hotel or any other business holders apart from the manpower is doing this business, that's against our law, that's completely illegal. So you are not allowed to do so. So I would like to request all the Nepali workers to have faith on the Nepali manpower and pay 10,000 as a service charge, because that's very important. We abide by the policies taken by Nepal government and we are very committed in implementing it.
Meanwhile, 11 Nepalis have been arrested in West Asian countries for posting photos and videos on social media that spread rumors about the ongoing war between Israel, the US and Iran. 4 were detained in Saudi Arabia, 3 each in UAE and Qatar, and 1 in Oman. Ministry of Foreign Affairs said posting such materials to incite fear is punishable under the law. Spokesperson Lokbahadur Paudel Chhetri added that embassies are being informed about the arrested citizens and efforts for their release are underway. Chhetri also stated that 86,420 Nepalis have registered for assistance with returning home, and the rescue of these transit is nearly complete.
नेपालमा पर्न सक्ने बहुआयामिक प्रभावहरूको समयमै मूल्याङ्कन तथा व्यवस्थापन गर्न सम्बन्धित मन्त्रालयहरू परराष्ट्र, श्रम, अर्थ, उद्योग, आपूर्ति, ऊर्जा लगायतको प्रतिनिधित्व रहने गरी एक उच्च स्तरीय अन्तर मन्त्रालय अध्ययन कार्यदल गठन गरेर उक्त कार्यदलले अल्पकालीन, मध्यकालीन र दीर्घकालीन नीतिगत तथा कार्यक्रमगत उपायहरूसहित प्रतिवेदन पेश गर्ने निर्णयअनुसार उच्च स्तरीय कार्यदल गठन भई प्रतिवेदन तयार पार्ने कार्य सुरु भइसकेको छ।
Nepal government has launched a 100-day reform agenda to establish its own construction company to directly manage major infrastructure projects, alongside enacting a law within 30 days to support the initiative. The government company will intervene only when private contractors fail, act negligently, or form syndicates to delay projects. Ensuring timely execution of strategically important developments, once the law is passed, the company will be equipped with skilled manpower, heavy machinery, and necessary resources to take over stalled or complex projects. This move aims to fast-track land acquisitions, environmental assessments, and approvals for national infrastructure while preventing political misuse of the institution. It is said that initiative seeks to revive Nepal's previous government construction companies, which had collapsed due to inefficiency and politicization, to ensure accountability and continuity in national projects. Nepal is celebrating the 76th anniversary of Radio Nepal, the country's first radio broadcaster, which began operations on April 2nd, 1951, that is Chaitra 20, 2007, as per the Nepali calendar. During the anniversary program, Minister for Communications and Information Technology Dr. Bikram Timil Sena highlighted Radio Nepal's role in strengthening democracy and urged the broadcaster to remain responsible, accountable, and effective in a changing media landscape. Officials emphasized modernizing the service, with Secretary Lakshmi Kumari Basnet calling for a technology-friendly approach, while PSB Executive Chairman Dr. Mahendra Bista noted its commitment to national development goals. Acting Chief Administrative Officer Bishnu Ram Neupane described the anniversary as the start of Radio Nepal's new journey as a public service broadcaster. The event also honored long-serving employees, artists, and commemorated the integration of Radio Nepal at Nepal Television into a single multilingual public service media organization. The construction of Sunkosi Marine Diversion project has hit a snag after the government scrapped a failing contract due to extreme negligence. With the site deserted and the project's timeline at risk, officials are now racing to finalize a new deal to get the National Pride project back on track. Our correspondent Anil Bhandari looks into the A-Link project.
The construction site of Sunkosi Marine Diversion Multi-Purpose Project, a vital national pride initiative, currently sits deserted, following a major contractual breakdown. The project, designed to provide irrigation to 6 districts in the Tarai region, hit a standstill after the government terminated its agreement with the previous contractor, Patel Raman JV. The decision came after the firm showed extreme negligence, completing only 10% of the physical work, despite 61% of the contract timeline already having elapsed. With the site silent for nearly 3 months, local residents are growing increasingly anxious that the project will miss its final completion target of 2027-28 fiscal year.
फेरि अब यहाँ सत्तामा जाने नेताहरूले पनि यिनलाई फाल्दियो किन काम गरेन ल्याइरहेको छ झर्यान सामान टन्न ल्याइरहेको छ काम गर्दैन यहाँ काम अब यस्तै हो एकदम सुस्त गतिले भइरहेछन् अब कामै भएको छैन उहाँहरूले काम गरेर चाहन्छन् अब 2-2.5 वर्ष जति हुन लाग्यो उनीहरूको भएको काम भनेको यही हो यहाँको अब त्यो हावा फाल्ने भनेर चाहिँ भन्छन् अब यहाँ अहिले काम भएको छैन यति नै हो.
To address this delay, the project office is in the final stages of preparing a new tender. Project officials confirmed that they are currently finalizing new cost estimates and evaluating previous work to bring a more reliable contractor on board for the construction of the 30-meter-high dam and the powerhouse. While the dam construction has stalled, the project has seen significant success in its underground works. A 13.3-kilometer tunnel was completed over a year ago using a tunnel boring machine. The government is now racing to finalize the new contract to ensure that this critical infrastructure for Nepal's agricultural future does not remain in limbo.
Now, international news coming up next after this short break. Tensions in the Middle East continued to escalate Friday as Iran launched attacks across the region, hitting targets in the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Israel in retaliation for earlier U.S.-Israeli strikes on its individual sites. A Kuwaiti power and desalination complex was reportedly damaged, while a fire at the Habshan gas complex in Abu Dhabi caused by debris from an intercepted attack halted its operations. Israel's military reported its air defenses were intercepting missiles fired from Iran, with no immediate casualties or damage confirmed. Iranian strikes also reportedly targeted American-linked individual facilities, including steel and aluminum plants and Israeli arms factories. Meanwhile, a major highway bridge linking Tehran to the nearby city of Karaj has been severely damaged in U.S.-Israeli airstrikes. The structure, known as the B-1 bridge, which served as a critical route between the two cities and one of the country's busiest corridors, was struck and rendered unusable following the attack. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council postponed a vote on authorizing the use of defensive force to protect shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, as Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warned that any proactive action by the aggressors and their supporters, including in the UN Security Council, regarding the situation in the Strait of Hormuz will only complicate the situation. The suicide car bomber killed at least 3 women and 2 children at a house in northwestern Pakistan late Thursday. According to local authorities said, the attack occurred in Bannu district in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, near the country's former tribal areas. Local police authorities said that the bomber was apparently targeting a police station but hit a civilian home in hasty before reaching it. 4 others were also reportedly injured in the blast. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. Myanmar's coup leader has won a parliamentary vote to become the country's president, formalizing his grip on political power in war-torn nation 5 years after he ousted an elected government. Senior General Min Aung Hlaing won 429 out of the 584 votes cast by MPs in the country's pro-military parliament on Friday. Aung Hlaing Dwe, the Speaker of Parliament's combined upper and lower house, confirmed. The coup-leading general in 2021 detained elected figurehead Aung San Suu Kyi and dissolved her party. He was anointed by pro-military MPs installed in a recent election overseen by junta he leads. Min Aung Hlaing was among 3 candidates nominated for the post earlier this week. China accused the United States on Friday of fabricating claims that Beijing had detained Panama-flagged ships in a long-running dispute over control of the strategic Panama Canal. Relations between the United States and China soured when Panama authorities in February took control of two ports previously operated by a Hong Kong-based conglomerate. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has reiterated on Thursday accusations that China had detained Panama-flagged ships in response to the takeover and voiced support for the Central American nation. China's foreign ministry hit back on Friday, accusing Washington of seeking to undermine supply chains through the vital waterway, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans.
美方有关言论完全是无中生有、颠倒黑白。美方一再说三道四，只能暴露自身霸占运河的图谋。究竟是谁公然通过单边霸凌和胁迫破坏巴拿马运河的中立地位，破坏全球供应链的稳定、公道、自在人心？中方在巴拿马有关港口问题上的立场是明确的，将坚定维护自身的正当权益。
U.S. President Donald Trump has removed Attorney General Pam Bondi from her post, ending her 14-month tenure as head of the Justice Department. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said Bondi would be transitioning to a new role in a private sector to be announced soon. He described her as a loyal friend and named Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who previously served as his criminal defense lawyer, as acting Attorney General. The move comes less than a month after Trump dismissed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, adding to a series of high-level changes within his administration. Separately, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked Army Chief of Staff General Randy A. George to step down with immediate effect. In a statement posted on X late on Thursday, Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said George will be retiring from his position, but he did not give any reasons for the abrupt decision during wartime. Now it's time for a short break. Now, on the other side, Cambodia's Senate has approved a new law imposing tough penalties on cyber scam operations, including life imprisonment for offenders linked to deaths. The legislation targets a multi-billion-dollar industry involving fake romance and cryptocurrency schemes that defraud victims worldwide. Under the law, ringleaders involved in human trafficking, detention, and torture can face up to 20 years in prison and fines of up to 2 billion reals, or about $500,000. Cambodian Justice Minister Kot Rith said the measures are intended to deliver serious punishment and deter repeat offences. Cambodia has emerged as a major hub for such transnational scam networks, often involving trafficked individuals forced to carry out fraud. Earlier in March, 51 Nepali nationals who had been trafficked to Cambodia and coerced into online scam operations were rescued and repatriated. Four astronauts on NASA's Artemis 2 mission are on their way to the moon after a successful engine burn that set them on a free return trajectory. The Orion capsule will loop around the moon and return to Earth during the 10-day mission, marking the first crewed lunar flyby in over 50 years. The U.S. Space Agency described the engine firing as flawless firing that lasted just under 6 minutes. The astronauts said they were glued to the window, taking pictures, and later passed a floating microphone back and forth as they took questions from U.S. television networks. The mission, launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, is testing systems for future human lunar landings. The astronauts, Americans Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Koch, along with Canadian Hansen spent their first hours in space performing checks and troubleshooting minor problems on the spacecraft that has never carried humans before, including a communications issue and a malfunctioning toilet. Artemis 2 aims to pave the way for a planned moon landing in 2028 and future long-term lunar exploration. South Korea and France have agreed to expand cooperation on key energy sectors, including nuclear power and offshore wind, while working at ensuring security in the Strait of Hormuz. President Lee Jae-myung made the remarks after holding a summit with French President Emmanuel Macron on Seoul. The French leader arrived on Thursday following a trip to Japan and is on a two-day visit that includes a war memorial tribute to French soldiers who fought in the Korean War, as well as economic and cultural engagements. South Korean President Lee called for stronger cooperation with France in an opinion piece published Thursday in Le Figaro, particularly in key areas such as artificial intelligence, nuclear energy, hydrogen technologies, and space. Macron also gave a special lecture on his visit to Yonsei University in Seoul, where he also met with the students and posed for pictures as well. Macron is the first French president to visit South Korea in 15 years, and his trip coincides with 140 years of diplomatic relations. Pope Leo XIV performed the ritual of washing of the feet on Holy Thursday for the first time, reinstating the traditional practice which his predecessor, Pope Francis, used to perform for the homeless, prisoners, and other marginalized people. The 70-year-old American pontiff is leading Holy Week celebrations for the first time since his election in May 2025. The ceremony held at Basilica of St. John Lateran in Rome commemorates Christ's final meal with his disciples. Dressed in a white linen apron, Pope Leo washed, dried and kissed the feet of 12 Roman priests, imitating Christ's gesture toward the apostle according to Christian tradition. Now it's time for sports news. In today's Indian Premier League IPL cricket match, Chennai Super Kings will face Punjab Kings, with both teams having won one match each so far. A day earlier, on April 2nd, Sunrisers Hyderabad secured a dominant victory over Kolkata Knight Riders, defeating them by 65 runs in a high-scoring encounters. Batting first, Sunrisers Hyderabad posted 226 runs, while Kolkata Knight Riders could manage only 161 runs, losing all their wickets in just 16 overs. The IPL, India's premier 2020 cricket league featuring 10 top franchises, is watched worldwide for its explosive cricket action. The tournament will conclude with the final match scheduled for May 25, promising more excitement for fans across the globe. And before we sign out, here are the reminder of our top stories. Tol Prasad Aryal elected House Speaker. Unopposed RSP Chair Lamichhane said no discussion yet regarding Deputy Speaker nomination. Nepal Supreme Court orders schools to start students' enrollment only after exams and academic session commencement. Nepal registers 352 foreign employment fraud complaints in 1 month. Department of Foreign Employment releases names of individuals. Foreign Affairs Ministry terms posting fear-inducing content illegal, saying evacuation of 86,420 citizens from Middle East nearly complete. Middle East tensions escalate as Iran strikes UAE, Bahrain and Israel. UN Security Council delays Hormuz vote. And Chennai Super Kings take on Punjab Kings in IPL showdown today. 10-team tournament builds up to final clash on May 25. That's it for this edition of Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to another episode of The Hinterlands on NTV World. This weekly show brings together stories from the hinterlands of Nepal, takes you beyond the cities and highways into the heart of Nepal's rural landscapes. I am Rosina Rai and we will be leading you into this journey every week. We begin in Okhaldhunga's historic Toksar area, once a thriving center for coin minting in eastern Nepal. Today, this site of rich heritage stands in a state of neglect. The remnants of stone frames used in coin production, traces of copper processing, and scattered old coins quietly reflects a legacy that awaits preservation and recognition.
यो डोली पैसा यस्तो डोली पैसा काट्थे अरे पहिला काटिन्छ अरे यस्तो ढुङ्गा यो पन्ने गर्ने अर्ध जस्तो पैसा अहिले देखाइमा यस्तै छ यो टक काट्ने ठाउँमा यहाँनिर यस्तो पैसा काट्थे अरे टक काटेको भन्छन् डोली पैसा पनि अरे नाम पनि टक्सर रहेको.
The Toksar area, traditional facility of minting coins in eastern Nepal's Okhaldhunga district, stand as a silent witness to the nation's rich history of copper coin production. However, this historically significant site has long been neglected. 4 years ago, the local government constructed a protective wall to support preservation efforts. Since then, no further conservation or construction work has been carried out. Despite its clear historical and archaeological importance, meaningful preservation initiatives have largely stalled. Once a thriving hub where raw copper was carefully transformed into doli paisa or coins, Toksar now awaits proper protection and restoration. Stone frames once used for shaping coins still remain, while processed copper on the ground serve as enduring traces of a craft that once sustained entire generations. According to locals, copper extracted from Jantar Khani was transported to Toksar, where it was fashioned into four-sided flat coins.
डोली पैसा काटेको कहीँ के भेटिन्छ देखिन्छ त्यो पाइयो त्यहाँदेखि गएर चाहिँ यो पत्र बाटाका छेउनेरि त्यो पैसा काटेको ली भन्थे के अरे किट भन्थे त्यो किट पाइएको अनि त्यहाँदेखि आएर चाहिँ यहाँ ढुङ्गाहरू पनि मजाले खोपेर बनाएको र कुनै यसो पैसाको आकारका चाहिँ ढुङ्गा पनि बनाएकाले त्यही चाहिँ देखियो अहिले.
Over time, the site evolved into a well-organized industrial center. maintaining strong trade connections with Kolkata, Darjeeling, Siliguri, and Bhutan. It functioned as a key hub for both mining and artisanal production. Even today, some of these coins are preserved by elderly villagers, offering a tangible link to the past. Preserving Taksar is not merely about protecting stones and metal. It is more about honoring the skills, labor, and legacy of the generations who contributed to Nepal's cultural and economic heritage. Without immediate action, the remaining artifacts and evidence of this once vibrant craft are at risk of disappearing forever. From heritage to hospitality now, we move to Dhankota district, eastern part of Nepal, where a unique cultural experience is taking shape. The At Paharia Community Homestay offers visitors more than just a place to stay. It offers a chance to live and connect with tradition, cuisine, and local life. A unique cultural destination nestled in the rural landscape of Dhankota, Nepal, where visitors do more than just stay. They immerse themselves in the deeply rooted lifestyle of Eastern Nepal. In recent years, the community homestay operated by the At Paharia community in Saule Sipting has emerged as a hub for culture, traditional cuisine, and sustainable tourism. Currently managed through the active involvement of 5 households, the homestay plays a vital role in preserving the identity and heritage of At Paharia people while promoting local tourism. Guests are served locally grown rice, lentils, and vegetables along with distinctive traditional dishes such as wachipa, dule achar, pico, selroti, the traditional drink called tongba, and radish pico. Special festive delicacies during Wadang meat, combined with pork, local alcohol, and seasonal harvest, further enrich the cultural experience. Beyond cuisine, the local way of life itself. Beyond cuisine, the local way of life serves as a major attraction for the visitors there. Visitors can actively participate in traditional practices such as making leaf plates called duna topori, weaving mat or gundri, and crafting household items from natural materials. These hands-on activities add a meaningful and memorable dimension to the visit.
सेवा सुविधाहरू भनेको त्यस्तै हो, खानापिना लोकल खानेकुराहरू र दोस्रो कुरा अब हाम्रो सिजन अनुसारको फलफुल टिपेर खाने पनि उयो छ, राखेका छौँ कार्यक्रमहरू र अनि चायमा हाम्रो सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रमहरू देखाउन पाइन्छ र अनि हाम्रो अवलोकनको लागिलाई यो गुन्द्री पिर्का पातको टपरा दुना यस्तै खालकोहरू हेर्न गर्नसम्म पाइन्छ.
The homestay has already welcomed over 100 visitors from countries including the UK, the Netherlands, Australia, and India. Adding to its charm, guests may also have the opportunity, depending on the season, to pick and enjoy fresh oranges and avocados directly from the garden. Blending tradition, authentic flavors, and heartfelt hospitality, the At Paharia homestay in Dhankota is steadily emerging as a promising destination for both domestic and international travelers. Next, we turn to Chhapa district, where one of Nepal's smallest indigenous group continues to struggle for its rights. Despite constitutional guarantees of inclusion and social justice, the Kisan community still faces challenges in recognition, access, and dignity. The Kisan community, an endangered indigenous group concentrated in Chhapa district, remains on the margins of Nepal's development story. Despite constitutional safeguards, many still lack the most basic form of recognition, official documentation. With a population of just over 1,400, generations of Kisan families have remained unregistered in government records. Without citizenship and formal identification, access to education, healthcare, and social security remains severely limited. Government policy does provide a monthly social security allowance of 4,000 rupees to endangered and marginalized communities, including the Kisan. But community members say financial support alone cannot address deeper structural challenges. Education gaps, limited healthcare access, poor infrastructure, and lack of land rights continue to define everyday life. For many, social inclusion remains more promises than the reality.
वंशजको नागरिकता पाउनुपर्ने पहिलादेखि बसेको किसान जाति अब उहाँ कतिपयको अहिले के अरे जन्मसिद्ध नागरिकता छ हैन त्यो जन्मसिद्ध नागरिकको छोराछोरीले उनीहरू चाहिँ अहिले भत्ताबाट वञ्चित छन् के किन उनीहरुसँग नागरिकता छैन नि त हैन त्यो एउटा समस्या भयो हैन अब अरु समस्या त त्यही हो बेरोजगारीको समस्या छ हैन
In the 21st century, the Kisan community still finds itself left behind, caught between constitutional assurance and lived exclusion. As Nepal pushes forward on its development goals, questions remain over who is being left behind. For the Kisan community, the struggle is not just about survival, but about being seen, heard, and included. And finally, we look at the impact of recent adverse weather across the country. Even before the monsoon season, rain, windstorms and snowfall have disrupted transportations and key road sections across the country. The downey streets of the East-West Highway has been particularly affected, with mudslides halting traffic completely. A report.
हामी त यहाँ जाम परेर यहाँ 4 घण्टा भइसक्यो यहाँ बसेको यहाँ भात पनि खान पाइएन यो जंगलमा यस्तोमा बसिए हेर्नुस् 11 बजेदेखि अहिले 1 बजे भन्छन् अनि खान पाएन.
With the recent windstorm and pre-monsoon rainfall in Nepal, the under-construction Downey Road under the Narayan-Ghat Butol section was severely disrupted. The transport services were reopened Sunday afternoon after 2 days of disruption. However, concerns are rising as the country has yet to enter the full monsoon season, and even brief showers make travel risky on various routes across the country. Unlike last year, commuters now face dangerous conditions along damaged roads. Light rainfall quickly turns the road muddy and slippery, often leading to blockages. While most of the Narayan-Ghat Butol route remains relatively smooth, the Downey section continues to be particularly difficult to navigate. According to the District Traffic Police Office, the Downey section has been obstructed 37 times so far in the current fiscal year, causing travelers to India prolonged traffic congestion. Despite 7 years having passed since the road expansion project began, crossing this section remains a challenge. Passengers report that traveling the 14-kilometer streets can take several hours due to persistent traffic jam. The Downey section, previously a 2-lane road, is currently being upgraded to 3 lanes.
पछिल्लो समयदेखि हामीले यो समस्या भोग्दै आइरहेका छौं यो वर्ष अन्तिम समस्या हुन सक्छ यो पानी परिसकेपछि यहाँको समस्या के भयो भने जस्तो 3 लेन मात्रै यो डिजाइनमा बनाउनु पर्ने छ 3 लेन भनेको 12 मिटर चौडाइको हाराहारीमा हुन्छ त्यसलाई आधामा काम गरेर आधामा गाडी चलाउनु पर्ने अर्थात् 6 मिटरमा काम गर्ने 6 मिटर भन्दा कम भागमा चाहिँ गाडी चलाउनु पर्ने कारणले गर्दा दोहोरो गाडी हिँड्न चाहिँ अलिकति समस्या भइरहेको.
Of the 40 kilometers in this section, 4 kilometers fall in the eastern portion, where around 800 meters of concrete paving work is still pending. Since construction started in 2018, The project has achieved 81% physical progress. The China State Engineering Corporation is failing to complete the work within the agreed deadline, resulting in 4 deadline extension. Beyond the cities and the headlines, real lives continue to unfold. Stories shaped by struggle, strengthened by resilience, and carried forward by hope. This is the Hinterlands, and we will be back next week with more stories from the heart of Nepal. Do follow us on our website, nepaltelevision.com, social media handles, and our YouTube channel also. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye for now.
जानुभएको छ म पनि पुगेर आएँ दुधकुण्ड असाध्यै पवित्र स्थल यो हिमाल काखमा रहेको तीर्थस्थल हो पुण्यस्थल हो देवस्थल हो र त्यहाँ चाहिँ एकचोटि पुग्नै पर्दो रहेछ त्यहाँ पुगेर जुन आनन्दको अनुभूति हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ कहीँ पनि पाइँदैन भन्ने चाहिँ महसुस भयो
आनन्द लाग्यो भएन मस्त नुहाइयो अनि यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ आएर तपस्या गरेर बस्नु जस्तो जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई
एकदमै राम्रो लाग्यो हैन प्रकृतिले दिएको रमणीय तीर्थस्थल हैन जो कोही पनि एकचोटि चाहिँ यहाँ आएर एकचोटि भ्रमण गरेर दर्शन
Welcome to NTV World Insight. As legacy heavyweights face arrest, the Election Commission decides the fate of the Nepali Congress and a new political order charges ahead. Nepal is undergoing a massive paradigm shift. Is this the birth of true accountability or just a new era of political vendettas? To separate the noise from the reality, we are today joined by one of the sharpest analytical minds in Nepali politics, former minister, government spokesperson and scholar, Dr. Minendra Rijal. Dr. Rijal, welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much for a very kind introduction.
It's been a dramatic month for Nepal.
Yes,
how does it feel to you? Let's start with where you were, how it felt during the Gen Z uprising and the March 5 elections, how you viewed all of it.
I mean, if you want to take me back to the that particular day, right? 2 days before that, I gave an interview, full-page interview, to one of the daily papers, and I strongly stood for against the government, and then opening the medium of expression. Social media is legitimate for everybody, and this is the technology we have today, and nobody can stop it. And that's freedom of expression was being curtailed. Back then, Prime Minister didn't like it. I was kind of truly surprised that a democratic government can say no to people's right to express their feelings, which is wrong. But I don't need to go back on that, because people have amply said how they felt about it, and the change that this ban on social media triggered. So I mean, the verdict is already out on that one. So let's not go back, but do understand that there's enormous amount of frustration among young people. Those who are ventilating their frustration in the social media, were forced to come out on the street. Was sad. 76 people lost their lives on the first day of the arrest, and then it turned even more violent the following day. And as a nation, we paid a heavy price for that. Infrastructure is lost. One of the finest things architecturally or as a heritage, we've lost that. We've lost lives. Though I mean, the change that it triggered probably was something that was badly needed, and this happened.
The public have given mandate to a new emerging party. The party swept many constituencies. What would you say about NC's own result and your own result as well?
And I lost, almost 2 out of 3 people who voted for me in 2017 didn't vote for me this time. And this is not only me, across the board, throughout the country, except if you take Karnali province away and then the hills of Sudur Pasim. Rest of the country, you see the same story. People walking away from us in flocks, saying that we've seen enough of it. We don't need you. We want to change, and then they did it. But at the same time, there's I don't know, a lot of your English audience probably would not be familiar with one of the rituals that we go through when somebody loses someone in the family. We bereave for like 45 days, right? And I was kind of saying, well, I completed what is needed to be done for 45 days. Performed my duties, and now back on track. So that's how I want to take it. But that's not a feeling of resentment. That's not a feeling of retreat. I'm even more committed today. Committed to see that this nation moves forward. Committed to help in any way that's possible to help people to realize the dream they have, and the regions they calculated that they should vote for RSP, and in that sense, I have no resentment about it. I'm not retreating. There's a moment for us as Nepali Congress to reflect on it, to ponder on it, and a party that has been pivotal in Nepal's struggles in establishing democracy, restoring democracy, bringing peace to the country, getting a new constitution almost as consensually, right? And then honestly are not being able to perform up to the standards people expected. So this is a sea change. But in a democracy, when this happens, this looks like a huge rupture. I mean, seismic moment. In a way it is, but at the same time, that's precisely why we need democracy. People can just very silently, discreetly say no and vote for somebody who they like, a party they like, and can very silently register their grievances, which they did, had we not lost so much money and so many lives, so much resources, so much of our heritage. If only the change had happened, that would have been enormously good. But I mean, of course, we paid a huge price for it. But let's hope, I mean, the ones who have gotten mandate today will make it worth.
I want to take reference to this statement that you expressed some time back. You said Nepal had seen a trend of transactional politics and coalition culture since 2074 BS, and the latest mandate had put a brake on it. Did legacy parties, despite existing frameworks designed for representation, fail to anticipate RSP's victory?
If I say no, then I probably would not be telling the right thing. But at the same time, if I do not admit we are complacent not to recognize it, then again I'll be telling you a lie. We are very complacent. NC was quite complacent. Our leadership was quite complacent. And then again, I tell you this, I mean, as a candidate running for office, right? I lost by huge margin. This is a moment of reckoning, but at the same time, going into it, I knew, I mean, looking at my constituency, UML had edge over me, but I mean, as the days passed by, I had reasons to believe that I was on top of the UML candidate. But I had started slowly realizing that RSP is on the surge, but didn't know, I mean, how far will they make it. But this has been a common experience of every candidate. I mean, we knew something wrong's happening. I'm not saying wrong for the country, wrong for Nepali Congress. I was seeing that my colleagues were losing. But to me, to recognize that I was also losing, it took a moment. But towards the end, I mean, like a week before, I could clearly see that, I mean, there's no energy there, there's no battery, I mean, that's charging my cadre. So they were with me. They didn't ditch me. Even the ones who voted for Bell, when they came out after voting, I could see they didn't vote for me, but they had no feeling of remorse. They had nothing against me, but they had very discreetly said no to me. No to me in the sense that I would have become part of the establishment that was there, which they were very unhappy about. And as you rightly pointed out, I mean, I've many times said politics had become transactional. That's not my own terminology. I borrow that from a book, a very famous book, Transaction Man. But the literature is on economic development, how financial world has made the entire thing very transactional, and this is precisely how Nepali politics can be described. And for last immediately after the promulgation of the constitution, the way it started governing, I mean, any coalition could just change any time. Anybody can run as an alliance for the election, and after the victory or loss can come back and then form government with anybody, any party, no matter what ideology is there. And once you are in the government, and then, I mean, you could easily see the hubris that was there with the ones who were running the country. And some of us, I mean, I guess when I talk about Nepali Congress, I would like to say that we are complacent. I'm repeating that phrase. Our leadership was too complacent. The reason I'm saying that is there was a feeling that as long as UML and we are together, we can run the government until the course, until the end of the parliamentary term, and even when we are up for renewal, we will be able to form a coalition alliance between two parties, and still win and still find a way back to our governance. And that complacency was there, and that killed us as a party, kill us. When I say that, I'm not saying that as a retreat. I mean, but I guess this moment had to come. I mean, in different note, I'm saying, had it not come, we probably would not have realized that Nepali Congress needs to change. Nepali Congress needs to find. I mean, I should say, reinvent itself, rediscover itself, and make Nepali Congress once again look like what Nepali Congress has always been, which it was not in the recent past.
As someone who's seen the insides of the institution, when you say the leadership was complacent, in the wake of Gen Z protest, the leadership did change. A special convention elected Gagan Thapa as the party president. But was it too little, too late?
My take is a little different. I mean, convention would have happened anyway. Right? Mr. Thapa was still General Secretary back then also. After special convention, there are, the legality of it, we have challenged it in the court. That's leaving that aside, I guess. This is not something dramatic or drastic as one would like to believe. The ones who voted him into the highest office of Nepali Congress, they probably would like to believe that this is the maximum that would have happened in Nepali Congress. But I guess we could not convince people. I mean, the slogan we had was Nepali Congress change, and now we can change the country. And probably people who voted for RSP in flux, what they were thinking was, I mean, if change is the order that you want to bring, I mean, we find that change ultimately in Berlin. So we go for the ultimate product, not halfway through. So they probably didn't stay halfway through. Compromise, because when they probably looked at Gagan Thapa, or when they saw us campaigning to make him Prime Minister of the country, what they thought probably was, oh no, still he represents the part of the old legacy party also, part of Nepali Congress establishment also. Balansa does not have that. And then probably even the ones who were looking at the age of the candidate, they probably thought, I mean, this guy is almost 50, but the other one is 35. I'm better with 35 than with 49. So in that sense, when you say, I mean, change but a little late, that's not what it was. When we needed to change, I mean, of course, in that sense, yes, but that probably would not have sufficed to the electorate. So I mean, we have to recognize that. Otherwise, we again would not recognize what needs to be done. I mean, even if court decides in favor of Mr. Thapa, he has to reflect on what has happened. I mean, he cannot simply, I mean, if he cannot be back in the mood of victorious president of the party, because I mean, that's not the ultimate thing. I mean, that would have changed. Somebody would have become president of the party, but he's president of the party, had just become president of the party. Even if his side becomes legitimate, then he has 5 years with the party that he leads in the opposition, and with a situation where he will not be in the parliament after a long time, right? So in that sense, I guess, which side prevails? Our side prevails or Mr. Thapa's side prevails? That's not the most important thing. And I tell you very honestly, why would people of Nepal care about it? They probably are saying, damn care with who is the leader of Nepali Congress. This is what they have said it in the election also. So we have to recognize that. First, we have to make, I mean, no matter who gets to lead Nepali Congress, in that sense, the popular word would be old guards or the young, not really young in the sense of people, the way they are referred to today, but I mean in Nepali Congress sense, young Turk, whoever gets to lead it, I mean, that's not the end of the story. Probably path forward starts from there. I hope if he gets legitimacy, he recognizes that, and if the old guards get the legitimacy, and they better realize it.
So you are open to accepting what the court has to say about it. What about other leaders in the party?
I would not vouch for anybody, but to me, unified Congress is more important. I mean, we ran as a unified party because I mean, if you go back to what we said, or go back to what Mr. Thapa said back then, I mean, I didn't care whether you were in favor of special convention or not. when tickets will be distributed, will be given to leaders from both sides. And then what I read into it was, he was basically saying that I'm going to unify the party. Even if I get legitimacy, I will not be very partisan. I will not be looking after the interests of only ones who voted me in. So that has to be the spirit. Has he done that after the verdict of the 2026 general election? My feeling, my take is, he has not. He has shirked. He should not be shirking. If he wants to reach out, he should be more forthcoming than staying within the cocoon that he has created around himself.
This week, a two-day meeting was held between Dewa faction and Koirala faction. The outgoing acting president said somewhere in the line that there were forces elements that strategically weakened Nepali Congress. And even Dr. Shekhar Koirala, I believe, said the same lines. Do you believe so?
This is not a moment to be defensive. This is a moment to reflect. And then if you want to blame anybody, there's enough to blame. And that's not going to help us. Let's recognize. All of us, almost all of us, not everyone. Some chose not to run. Others were denied the chance to run. Others still probably didn't make it because of whatever reason it was. But there is enough blame to go around. Let's not spend our time blaming each other. And then if we do that, we will be back in the same mold. Same mold meaning, if you go back to Nepali Congress of 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, or a year, what were we busy doing? We're actively campaigning for own ascendancy into the leadership of Nepali Congress. And I guess we were too busy with Nepali Congress internal politics than about country. We were the largest party in the government, but still we're busy in fighting. And people didn't like it, so let's recognize that. Even after this, people have given us a clear verdict against us. So do we not recognize that this is not a time to blame one side or other? So what I say in the meeting that I participated yesterday was, if Mr. Thapa wins, it's for him to decide how he's going to take the party. If this side prevails in the court, then we have to go status quo ante, meaning then Gagan Thapa, Bishop Prakash Sharma will become General Secretary of the party, and let's take it from there. Let's take it from there. And if the court case is delayed, then we have to open room for negotiation. So it's not a question of who prevails in Nepali Congress. All of Nepali Congress should act together and do what it has done extremely well in the last 8 decades of existence, and start work from there. Be a good opposition, be a constructive opposition, be a very vocal opposition, be an opposition that's not very defensive, but it's not very resentful.
Nepali Congress is one of the widely celebrated oldest democratic parties of Nepal. How does the institution, as of this moment, look like?
For getting into the internal situation about Nepali Congress, let me dwell a bit about Nepal itself, right? Nepal's democracy. I guess the most important mandate people have given now is, well, democracy is well established. Now we'll vote for the ones who we feel will perform. We've seen you. Thank you. I think I should say this. I recognize this. RSP president has something very nice to say. We're very thankful to the old established political parties for bringing the nation to where we are today. We have a good constitution. That's going to stay there. And of course, and then let me move on to my own reflection. Yes, institutions are there, but inertia is also there. Institutions are there, but the problem of coordination is there. We have, if you look at the achievements, not only politically, economically, or also, we made tremendous achievements. But at the same time, in millions, people are leaving the country. In hundreds of thousands, people are leaving country. in search of employment, gainful employment, or for any opportunity every week. And these are young people. And so do not learn that we need to find a way so that the number of people, I mean, it's not going to stop immediately, but I mean, recedes, and slowly comes a time down, few years down the road, or maybe 10 years down the road, that nobody will leave the country in search of better opportunity. And this probably is what Nepali Council should be thinking about. Nepali Council should forget about who gets the master bedroom in the house, but think more about, I mean, how Nepali Council becomes once again Nepali Council that was once led by BP Koirala, or many of the exemplary leaders who navigated the most difficult times in the history of Nepal. People of Nepal and the current establishment, by that I mean RSP, has also acknowledged the contribution. So we say thank you for acknowledging, but we need to move beyond that. And when I look at the current Prime Minister, he was born few days after the restoration of democracy was done in 1990, right? So I mean, for him, democracy was there when he was born. So I mean, this is a democratic generation that has no memory of how difficult the struggle was, and they don't need to. And if they have to go back and go through the same struggle again, then what good did we do in the past? I mean, why should they be thankful to us? So we should take pride in the fact that democracy is there. We should take pride in the fact that our constitution is there. We should take pride in the fact that Nepali Congress was led the nation all along last 8 decades to now bring the country to where it is. But from here onwards, people judge political parties based on their performance. And if there is a gap in the performance, and if they feel that we are too complacent about performing, they will simply walk away from us. If we do well, and then if we make Nepali Congress again a formidable political party, they will come back to us. So I mean, it's not a question of thinking about or tricking them into coming back, but I mean, it's, putting our acts together so that I mean, they will come to us naturally.
Do you think NC has been, after the Gen Z uprising, of course, more open to youth leaders, youth voices?
Yes and no, both. Yes, meaning had we been very open, then probably we could have very easily managed the transition within NC, which we did not. So in that sense, no, we have not been. But at the same time, being young only is not going to solve the problem that we face today. By that, I'm not saying that old people will have to be there. It's not a question of age. It's a question of how you lead the country. If you say it's only age, then we'd be wrong. But at the same time, if we do not recognize that that because of technology, because of how things have changed, because of the exposure that the new generation have, and because of the way they think about things they see, they naturally will feel very comfortable with someone who is closer to their age than with me, right? That I have to recognize. And then again, I have to be very, very mindful of the fact that there are only 6 members of parliament who are directly elected, are either of my age or older. Only 8 PR elected members of parliament who are of my age or older, meaning only 14 people of my age or older. Rest of the 261, rest of the parliamentarians, meaning 261, are younger than me. Even if Gawan Thapa had been returned to the parliament, he would have been above median. Average age of the parliamentarian is quite lower than his age also. So in that sense, it's not only age. So not that everybody has to be Balin Shah's current Prime Minister's age. I mean, can be younger, can be older, but you have to have the right state of mind.
Regarding the recent arrest that Balendra Shah's government has made of prominent leaders, CP and UML has expressed plan for retaliation, while Nepali Congress has remained a bit more silent. What's your stand on it?
First, the way it was done, wrong. Civilian authority cannot be held accountable for criminal charges. I mean, the bar is pretty high to prove as a civilian authority can be prosecuted under criminal offense. I do recognize it was very tragic that 76 people young people had to lose their lives because of what happened. That's sad, very tragic, but at the same time, holding civilian authority accountable for criminal wrongdoing, I mean, bars are pretty high, one. Second, the procedure that needs to be followed. I mean, the procedure is pretty clear. I mean, they have to go by the books. They did not. And third, I mean, was there a risk that they will run away or play with the evidences that's there? No, there was not. So, I mean, why did they rush to arrest him and put him behind bars? This was not needed. If there is a very strong case against him, they could have started an investigation. So I would earnestly urge the government, we are a democratic nation. We have to follow the rules. Procedures are very important in democracy. I mean, what's done is important, but even more important than that is how it's done. So the way it was done was wrong, but at the same time, we've taken a position that we will not go back to the street immediately, because, I mean, taking everything under your hands probably is not going to help much. This country needs calm, this country needs peace, this country needs better understanding, this country needs to follow democratic norm, and not because we're not sad about it, not because we don't think it's wrong. It's wrong, plain and simple, but going to the street is not going to solve the problem. It's going to aggravate more. UML has a different take. Why does it have a different take? I don't know. They are a different party.
Do you think this was driven by political vendetta?
I very strongly believe that it was, and it should stop.
Do you think the new government's swift abolition of partisan unions risk creating an administrative vacuum, or this decisive action, is it hallmark of a true government?
In terms of idea, I do agree with the fact that Nepali society is over-politicized. If you look at established political parties or legacy political parties, as many would like to call them, meaning us, we had more than 1 million active members. And UML also has the same. And put all these parties, NC, UML, Maoist, Madhes-based political parties, and other national political parties, we have among ourselves almost 5 million active party workers. And for a country like ours, I mean, why do we need 5 million? I mean, for a country of 30 million, why do you need 5 million people actively pursuing politics? That's not going to do any good. I mean, I rather see them work. I rather see them doing gainful work for themselves, for their families, for the community, make a better living. But we have politicized the entire thing. And then if you ask me, would we have been able to do this? We would not have been. So I mean, thank God it's not us, it's RSP. They can do it. But at the same time, I would only caution them. I mean, look at the law, right? There is existing law, and then if you need to amend it, if it's act amended by the majority vote in the parliament, if it's government procedure, I mean, then you can amend it by cabinet decision. So we go by the books. Rule of law is important, but having said that, I should recognize our society was too politicized, and if we let the country remain as politicized as it was in the past, we probably will not be able to achieve what people have aspired that they see RSP achieve for them.
Mm-hmm. The party has near 2/3 majority. Do you think, considering all the leaders in the cabinet at the moment and the lawmakers in the parliament, is there a risk of tyranny of the majority?
There's always such risk when you have a government which is close to supermajority, or when you achieve what they have achieved, feat of accomplishment, from a party of 21 seats in the parliament. Now they are a party of 182 in the parliament. I mean, that probably makes them a little too excited. They probably will have a feeling to overreach at times. But I would caution them: do what people would like you to deliver. But at the same time, rule of law is important. As long as you give a clear sense to the people of Nepal that corruption will not be tolerated, but anybody who will be prosecuted will be prosecuted based on the prevailing laws, and injustice will not be done to someone just because they are not RSP supporters. I guess one of the things people didn't like about us was, I mean, we probably were a little too partisan about who was with us and who was not with us back then when we administered law. So I hope they don't do the same thing that people thought we did.
You've served in ministries 3 times. From your experience at the ministries, what kind of hurdles do you think the new government is going to face as they go about implementing all their agendas?
I guess, I mean, there are so many things that the government can and probably will have to do. But for that, they have 5 years. So probably the first order of business is, if people get a feeling that corruption will not be tolerated, if people get a feeling that service will be delivered, if people get a feeling that they will be treated fairly, if people feel that government offices are there to serve the people of Nepal, if people feel that there's rule of law, if people feel that slowly good governance is going to come back, then people will have all the reasons to have confidence about the government they have voted in. And once that confidence there, then government can move in the direction, in a long trajectory, in the direction that we all wanted this country move, and for which it has been already too late. But at the same time, I should also add that institutions are very weak. Our coordination mechanism is very weak. We have very entrenched interest that's there. For past so many years, we've been ruling without governing. Meaning we are on the seat of the power. I should admit that. We meaning, I'm not talking about individual, or I'm not trying to self-blame myself, but at the same time, we as political parties who are running this country, we benefited tremendously, but at the same time, we're not administrating the nation towards prosperity, towards fulfillment, towards making people more confident about what they would like to achieve, and making people feel that they can achieve whatever they want, and government's not going to be on their way from realizing the goal they have for themselves. I mean, in that sense, one might say, well, then you're not doing the right thing. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not retreating. I have a commitment, more stronger commitment to make Congress again relevant for the greater good of people of Nepal. But I would like to add, I've said I many times, but I should add this. I understand that I'm a pretty old man, and there's a limit to what I can do and what I cannot as an individual. As Nepali Congress, we have to recognize that we are in the opposition. It does not mean that we are out of the sight. It means that we have to be there, helping the government constructively. Helping the government constructively means criticizing government, stopping when they do wrong, stopping government when the policy is wrong, when they are trying to do something that's wrong, stopping the government from taking law in its hand, stopping the government from catering to the interests of people around them. And that's the role of an opposition. We should be loyal to the cause of the nation, but at the same time, we should understand we are opposition to the government.
NC has been in the ruling had been in fact in the ruling for many, many years. What would you say would be some pitfalls that the government will need to avoid?
Look, it's very, they have to understand that they promise a lot. They have to understand that people really truly believe that, they will deliver it. But they have to basically recognize that not all can happen at once. Hope has to be generated. Otherwise, if you have, they have their plates full. They have to understand that, and they have 5 years to do that. First order of business is governance. First order of business is coordination among and between different layers of the government. First order of business is service delivery. First order of business is establishing connection between people's feelings and government's performance, and that is going to generate hope in the country. So first generate hope. Once people have reasons to feel good about the government, then people will be your best support. Not only their vote, they move in forward also. The energy is going to be there, and if that energy, with hope, that energy is going to be there. And if the energy is there, RSP can deliver what it would like to see delivered.
Well, innocent until proven guilty, few of NC leaders have been mired in controversies. There's also a lot of criticism about the failure to hand over to a new generation the power within the party itself. A lot of issues, of course. What would you say would be a meaningful way of reflection for the leaders?
First, let me talk about me now. If I do not think about retiring from politics, then I'd be a fool not to. But if I think about retirement only, then I'd be in the retreat mode, which I don't want to be. So I guess, we have to take things as they are. And many of us, in the past, had started thinking oneself as being indispensable. None of us, young or old, are indispensable for the nation, indispensable for the party. If we recognize that, then we would come to greater understanding that I may be there, I may not be there, but as long as the mantle's carried forward, as long as the mantle of democracy, rule of law, prosperity for the nation, and fighting for the downtrodden is there, the Party Congress will serve a nation pretty well. And it's going to get back that opportunity to do in the future. But we should not be restless, but at the same time, we should not rush through anything. And the government also, they have 5 years to deliver what they want to deliver.
Now, aligning with your interest in export competitiveness and trade, the current administration is pushing for rapid reform, while Nepal's export competitiveness has remained fragile. From your perspective, do you think a populist-driven government can successfully navigate the complexities of international trade deals?
Not just because RSP has won, our geography is going to change. Not just because RSP has won, our infrastructure deficit is going to go away. Not just because RSP has won, federal coordination is going to come the way. Not just because RSP has won, we become automatically competitive, right? There are institutional hurdles, but having said that, we have to understand that has to change. The commitment has to be there. But if you are thinking that just because I am in the seat of power, things will change, and I'll be able to deliver what I think I am capable of doing, that has not happened in the past. Even when we are running the government, the commitment was there, but just thinking good things about yourself, thinking good things about country and citizen, is not going to automatically guarantee results. People have voted us out by judging at the results we delivered. People have voted them in, hoping that they will deliver results. And then if they do that, they'll serve the nation well, they'll serve their party well, and as a nation we'll also be happy. I mean, government is everyone's government, even though we are in the opposition. The government that's there. Palin Sai is the Prime Minister of the entire nation, not just RSP. Finance Minister is Finance Minister of the entire nation, not just RSP. So I wish them luck. The victory was convincing, but test of pudding lies in eating.
Do you think this government will be able to touch upon or maybe progress on the development aspirations that people have?
First, I will wish them good luck, but at the same time we have to recognize that our capacity to spend our budget, especially capital expenditure, is very limited. If we look at our capital expenditure for past 10 years, in 2016-17 fiscal year, we spent 270 billion Nepali rupees on capital budget, and since then we have not crossed that limit. It's already been almost a decade, and then if you factor in inflation, 270 billion back then is little equivalent to a little over 400 billion Nepali rupees today, and we are nowhere close to that. So first thing is, we have to build our capacity to create capital within the country, which we have not. So I'm sure our government understands this difficulty. Government understands the institutional bottlenecks. Government understands where the reforms needed. I'm pretty confident that with the experience current finance minister has, he understands the challenge. So I hope they do understand, not just get euphoric and just think that it will just happen. It's not going to happen. They have to stand up and deliver. Development just does not happen. It takes hard work, a lot of thinking through. They are mandated to do that. A lot of thinking through, a lot of courage, a lot of commitment is needed, and I'm sure they have given enough thought about it. If they have not, they better do that before they put the budget together.
You've often been described as an academic in a room full of politicians. Given that old guard is being silenced, do you see your future role as more of a political practitioner or as a public intellectual guiding a new generation of leaders?
I do not know. I am basically ready for any role that my party or the society grants me. It's not only I who will be deciding what I'll be doing. I can say that I'm in it or I'm not in it. Whatever roles that are there for me, I'm willing to soldier that responsibility. At my age, I'm 68 already. Look, I don't have a lot of ambition, but at the same time, I'm repeating this word many times. I've repeated it many times. I'm not in the mood to retreat, but at the same time, I'm not saying that I am indispensable for Nepali cause. I'm not saying that I'm indispensable for the nation. Individuals are not very important, so I want to be a very happy man. I would do whatever is entrusted upon me, but at the same time, I'm not being too self-assuming.
Dr. Rijal, thank you so much for your time and your opinions.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for having me in this show.
And that is our time today on Insight. As legacy parties scramble to connect with a restless young demographic and a new guard test the limits of technocratic power, one thing is clear: the old rules of Nepali politics are dimming. Thank you for joining us here on NTV World Insight. Until next time.
Annapurna Circuit Trek features in world's 10 best destinations and adventures. The trekking circuit is the choice of many trekkers as it offers both adventure along with mesmerizing view of mountain ranges. Arguably the best trekking circuit in the world, travelers get up close with dozens of mountains including the Annapurna, Dhaulagiri, Nilgiri. Annapurna Circuit ideally is a 14-day trek. The circuit passes through Lamjung, Manang, Mustang and Myagdi district, including Thorangla Pass as the highest point. Places including Thampus, Ghandruk and Poon Hill are part of this trekking circuit. The revered Muktinath shrine is also part of the circuit. Only foreigners were seen in this circuit few years back, but now domestic tourists are also flocking the area. If you are looking for a lifetime trekking experience, then pack your bags for Annapurna trekking circuit. Mardi Base Camp Trek, also part of the Annapurna circuit, is another alternative route for trekkers who can't afford time. Trekkers can be up close with mountains including the Annapurna Range, Dhaulagiri, Machapuchre and Manasalu in this circuit. This 7-day circuit is attracting many trekkers for obvious reasons.
स्वागत छ लुक्लामा तपाईहरुलाई राम्रोसँग आउनुभयो के प्लेनमा डरहरु लाग्नु भएन प्लेन भित्तैमा ठोकेला जस्तो हुन्छ यहाँ त
At an altitude of 2,860 meters, Lukla is the starting point of arguably one of the best trekking routes in the world, up to the Mount Everest base camp, finishing above 5,400 meters. Ram is one of hundreds of seasonal porters in the route.
अब यो त मान्छेलाई पनि यस्तै हो सजिलो त सर यो किनभने हिलो हुँदैन बेस क्याम्प जाँदा अब क्याम्पको 1000 रुपैयाँ हुन्छ डबल बारी बोकेर अब 2-3 क्याम्प जति हिँडिन्छ त्यतिखेर चाहिँ 5000 जति बस्छ.
The route is popular, in fact crowded. This is only for the 2 months of April and May, and so is the profession of Ram a seasonal affair.
अब कुनै खेर पाइन्छ कुनै खेर पाइँदैन मान्छे यतिकै हुन्छ र अब कुनै खेर त अब 4-5 दिन यतिकै बसेकै बजारतिर आयो घुम्यो यतिकै फेरि कोठामा फर्केर आयो अब बाँकी खाना खाँदै बस्यो त्यस्तै हो सर. विदेश जाउँ त अब लाग्छ जानुलाई पनि फेरि अलिक गाह्रै छ पैसा चाहिन्छ अब पैसा छैन. त्यो पेसामा पढाइ चाहिँ पुरुषहरू नै हुन्छ महिलाहरू पनि आधी उधी हुन्छ सर. बिहानदेखि कहिले अब घाम लागिरहन्छ एकछिनमा यस्तो बादल आइहाल्छ डुममा भइहाल्छ यहाँको मौसम यस्तै हो सर. पढेको भए त बाँकी अब सानोतिनो जबहरू हुन्थ्यो कि.
Trekkers pass through nearly 6-7 small hamlets along the Lukla Namche section of the route.
यहाँ सबै घरमा बिजुली पानीको राम्रो व्यवस्था छ सर.
The locals do not have infrastructures or might have resected roads, but they have embraced development.
नाम्चे लुक्ला सबै बाटोभरि नै फोहोर राख्ने बाटो राखिदिनु भएको छ.
The topography is inhospitable, but the people are friendly.
यहाँ हरेक गाउँको आफ्नो आफ्नै हाइड्रो बिजुली निकाल्ने पावर छ.
Solar panels give much needed warm water to survive the cold. No wonder everything comes at a cost here, charging a cell phone or getting a Wi-Fi connection.
साह्रै दुःख पाइयो मम्मी सानैमा बित्यो अनि पढ्नै पाएन यस्तो दुःख गर्नु परेछ. अब छोराछोरीलाई चाहिँ अब यस्तो दुःख गरेर भए पनि पढाउँछु. अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्ने भए त अब कति अब खैराहरू भेट्छन्. हिजो पनि 4 जना भेटेको थियो फाल्टो ग्रुप. अब अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्न जानिदैन त्यही भएर पठाइदियो. ल अब यहाँ चाहिँ खाना खाने ठाउँ हो यहाँ खाना खानु पर्यो.
हजुर सबभन्दा धेरै थुक्प नै हो किनभने अरू खाजा पनि जान्छ नि त जानु त बनाएर जान्छ तर त्यो सकिहालेन भने फेरि त्यो बिग्रिन्छ के अमिलो.
Food is no more cooked in firewood like in the past, despite LP gas cylinders arriving either on humans' back or the beast of burdens. Our first day trek concludes at Phakding, a small hamlet at an altitude of 2,610 meters. Almost all trekkers lodge here on the first day to acclimatize themselves for higher elevations. The place has amenities for travelers at par with an urban town, except roads and infrastructures.
यहाँ यो फलामको चिम्नी नभएको त गरै हुँदैन सर. यहाँ त फलामको चिम्नी भएन भने त जाडोले मर्ने.
As the dawn breaks, Ram emerges from his overnight elopement for lodging.
अब जाने होला सर उकालो. यो अलिक सपना बिग्रियो अनि त्यति राम्रो सुतेन. सपनामा त खै कस्तो अचम्मको सपना देखियो. सपनामा चाहिँ बुढी चाहिँ अर्कैसँग गएको देखेको खै के कुरामा चाहिँ डिस्कस भएको जस्तो भयो अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ कपडा सपडा प्याक गरेर हिँडेको सपना देखेँ के गर्नु सकिएन खै कहिले के गर्ने हो मान्छे बुढी राम्रो छ सपना चाहिँ त्यस्तो देखेँ कस्तो अचम्म लाग्यो बुढी फेरि मभन्दा ठुलो छ कि मभन्दा त राम्रै पनि छ ठुलो पनि छ त्यस्तो सपना देख्दा चाहिँ कुनै खेर चाहिँ अब डर पनि लाग्छ क्या बा पछि अब छोडेर हिँडिदिने हो कि आफूसँग केही नभएपछि त होइन बा अब हिँडिदिने हो कि जस्तो पनि लाग्छ
यो सागो हो यो सागो चाहिँ काठको बनाएको यो बर्खामा ठुलो पानी आउँछ ठुलो खोला हुँदाखेरि त बगाएर लगिहाल्छ फेरि बनाउँछ यो चाहिँ पारी घाँस दाउराको लागि बनाउँछ
The Kumbh region has more than a dozen suspension and concrete bridges to safely cross the Dudh Kosi, meaning Milk White Kosi and its tributaries. As we continue our steep climb towards Namche Bazaar, we pass through freshly felled pine trees.
यो चाहिँ घरको लागि काठ काटेको हो यो घरको काठ काट्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो निस्केको दाउरा हो सर यो दाउरा अब सधैँभरि फुल्दैन कुनै बेला फुल्दाखेरि चाहिँ काट्ने हो
Only permitted numbers are cut every year, while the locals do not forget to grow pine saplings in their backyard to replace the cut ones. This is the entry point of Sagarmatha National Park, a buffer zone guarded by Nepal Army. The small hamlet of around 200 houses is no less than a modern town as we venture around the next morning with Ram. We not only discover Ram's free-of-cost night laws, but also a secret tavern where porters gather to gamble.
टुरिस्ट आएन भने त अब यहाँ त अब गाह्रो छ नि सर अब आलु मात्रै फलाएर अब के खानु यहाँ त्यो पनि अब आलु धेर फल्दैन कम फल्छ टुरिस्ट आएन भने त धेरै गाह्रो छ सर अब छनु त छ कि अझ योभन्दा राम्रो योभन्दा नि अब राम्रो अब घरहरू बनाओस् राम्रो सरसफाइ होस् अब राम्रो सुविधा होस् न त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ आउँछ यहाँ त अब त्यस्तो मोटरहरू आयो भने त फेरि हामीलाई गाह्रो भइहाल्छ नि सर अब हामी फेरि अब हामी पोटरहरू फेरि त्यतिकै हुन्छ बेरोजगार हुन्छ अब हाम्रो त अब खै जिन्दगी त अब यस्तोले त अब गाह्रै हो तर अब के गर्नु त सर अब खासै अब केही अब गर्ने बाटै छैन हाम्रो अब यही नै हो हाम्रो त
A phone call from Lukla upsets us more than Ram as he misses a much better opportunity to accompany trekkers to the base camp. The weather remains unfavorable as we fail to catch a glimpse of the Mount Everest. With a bit of dejection for not being able to see the roof of the world, we start our journey back to Lukla. On the way, Ram gives us a good news. He got another lucrative trip.
अब चाहिँ अलिक चाँडो जानु पर्ला हो सर अब अझै म फेरि फर्केर नाम्ची पुग्नु पर्ने छ
Back at Lukla, Ram prepares himself for the 14-day trip to the base camp with high hopes for making decent earning. It's time to part now as Ram bids us goodbye in a haste in Lukla to make his dream come true. A roof for his wife and education for his little princess.
This is The World This Week, your weekly roundup of the latest international events and updates. This is me, Bhavana Casey. In this edition, we bring you the stories making headlines across the globe, from geopolitical tensions and major political developments to cultural celebrations and remarkable human feats. We have all that you need. Let's begin with the Middle East, where tensions continue to escalate, raising concerns about regional stability and global security. Iran launched fresh strikes on Israel and Gulf states after intensified attacks by the United States and Israel on its infrastructure. U.S. President Donald Trump, meanwhile, has warned that American forces haven't even started destroying what remains of Iran's facilities, underscoring a widening and volatile Middle East conflict. Iran fired missiles and drones at targets in Israel and several Gulf countries, including an attack that set fire to Kuwait's Mina al-Ahmadi oil refinery as the region's conflict widened following renewed U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iranian infrastructure. Iran's assault on Gulf energy installations comes amid a sustained war that began in late February, with Iran responding to what it says are escalating strikes on its territory by U.S. and Israeli forces. In Kuwait, Kuwaiti state energy company officials reported a blaze at the refinery after a drone strike, though no injuries were reported. U.S. President Donald Trump said Washington hasn't even started destroying what's left in Iran, threatening further attacks on bridges and power plants after a recent U.S. strike on a bridge near Karaz killed at least 8 people and wounded nearly 100. Trump also added that the U.S. won't let its Gulf Arab allies or Israel get hurt or fail due to the Iran war.
And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form.
On the other side, UN Chief Antonio Guterres warned that the Middle East conflict risks spiraling into a wider war as he calls for an immediate halt to the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran and Iranian attacks on its neighbors.
Every day, this war continues, human suffering grows, the scale of devastation grows, indiscriminate attacks grow, the target of civilians and civilian infrastructure grows, and the perils to our world grow. We are on the edge of a wider war that would engulf the whole Middle East with dramatic impacts around the globe. The conflict is already being felt everywhere.
The ongoing conflict has sparked fears of a wider regional war, prompting urgent calls for restraint and diplomacy from other global leaders as well. Another update from the region, Iran has effectively tightened its control over the key shipping lane of the Strait of Hormuz, demanding tolls and restricting passage in retaliation for U.S.-Israeli strikes. This is seen as a move that has choked up traffic, threatening global fuel supplies and rattled the global economy. Iran has moved forward with plans to toll ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Beijing, meanwhile, has expressed gratitude as it said 3 Chinese ships had transited the crucial Strait of Hormuz, which Iran has all but closed during the war in the Middle East.
中国和巴基斯坦是相互信任、相互支持的全天候战略合作伙伴。两国在重大国际地区问题上立场相近，沟通紧密。相信两国外长将就伊朗局势等共同关心的国际地区问题加强战略沟通协调，共同发出和平正义之声，为劝和止战、维护地区和平稳定做出新的努力。
The development comes amid heightened tensions in the region, where Iran has imposed strict controls on the strategic waterway, allowing only limited passage for selected vessels, despite ongoing disruptions to global shipping. In the meantime, White House Press Secretary has repeated the Trump administration's insistence that the U.S. war against Iran should be over within another 2 weeks. However, she warned Iran that the U.S. military has capabilities beyond their wildest imagination, and the president is not afraid to use them.
To the timeline again, the president, commander-in-chief, the Pentagon has always stated 4 to 6 weeks estimated timeline for Operation Epic Fury. We're on day 30 today, so again, you do the math. On how much longer the Pentagon needs to fully achieve the objectives of Operation Epic Fury, which I will reiterate: destroy the Iranian Navy, destroy their ballistic missiles, dismantle their missile and drone production infrastructure, significantly weakened their proxies throughout the course of this operation, and then, of course, preventing Iran from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon.
In the 5 weeks of war, thousands of people have been killed, the vast majority in Iran and Lebanon. Across the U.S., millions of people took to the streets in a sweeping wave of protest against U.S. President Donald Trump and his administration, marking one of the largest coordinated demonstrations in recent American history. Millions of demonstrators turned out across the United States in one of the largest coordinated protest actions in recent American history, rallying against President Donald Trump's administration and its key policies. Organized under the banner of the No Kings movement, the nationwide demonstrations spanned more than 3,300 planned events in all 50 states and extended to cities overseas, including London, Paris, and Rome. Participants voiced broad opposition to what they described as Trump's authoritarian governing style, hardline immigration enforcement, and the ongoing war with Iran, concerns that have underpinned rising public dissatisfaction with the administration's direction. Demonstrators highlighted immigration enforcement operations at the southern border, continued U.S. military involvement in the Middle East, and other domestic issues as central grievances. Organizers estimated turnout in the millions nationwide, with some reports saying the movement drew one of the largest single-day protest turnouts in U.S. history. The protests come amid broader political tensions as the Trump administration faces low approval ratings and heightened scrutiny over its handling of immigration, foreign policy, and executive authority, issues that are expected to shape the political landscape in the months ahead. India has declared the country free of the Maoist insurgency, fulfilling a long-standing deadline to defeat the decades-long rebellion. Home Minister Amit Shah told the parliament that India is now free of the rebels known as Naxals. India has declared the country free of the Maoist insurgency, fulfilling a long-standing deadline to defeat the decades-long conflict. Indian Home Minister Amit Shah told the parliament that India is free of the rebels known as Naxals.
और हमने लक्ष्य किया था कि 31 मार्च को नक्सल मुक्त करेंगे। मैं पूरी व्यवस्था होने के बाद देश को भी सूचित करूंगा, मगर मैं ऐसा बोल सकता हूं, धड़ल्ले से बोल सकता हूं कि हम नक्सल मुक्त हो गए हैं, ऐसा कहने में कोई तकलीफ नहीं।
The insurgency, which spanned over several central and eastern states and was rooted in grievances over land, poverty, and marginalization, had for years posed as one of the country's most persistent internal security challenges. Officials said sustained security operations, development initiatives, and improved coordination between federal and state agencies had significantly weakened the movement in recent years. It is added security forces will remain vigilant to prevent any resurgence of militant activity in the affected regions. They also said efforts will continue to address the underlying socio-economic issues to ensure long peace and stability. Myanmar's military ruler Min Aung Hlaing was elected president by the country's parliament, entrenching his grip on power 5 years after seizing control in a coup and recasting his leadership under a civilian title. Myanmar's military chief Min Aung Hlaing has been formally elected president by a parliament dominated by his loyalists 5 years after seizing power in a February 2021 coup, consolidating civilian authority in name only. The newly seated legislature with the armed forces guaranteed a quarter of seats and the military-backed USDP controlling nearly 80% of remaining positions effectively ensured Min Aung Hlaing's ascension. Before taking office, he stepped down as commander-in-chief of the armed forces, appointing hardliner Ye Win-u as his successor, while establishing a new consultative council with overarching control over civilian and military affairs. Since the coup, Myanmar has faced widespread unrest and civil war, leaving thousands dead, millions displaced, and large swaths of the country under armed resistance control. The military has responded with indiscriminate airstrikes and tactics, targeting civilian communities, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Observers say Min Aung Hlaing's move to the presidency secures his power while maintaining the military's dominance over Myanmar's political and social landscape. NASA's Artemis 2 has left the Earth's orbit, carrying 4 astronauts on a mission around the far side of the Moon. The flight marks the first manned journey beyond the Earth orbit since 1972.
Step down right on top of the toilet area.
NASA's Artemis 2 spacecraft has left the Earth orbit carrying 4 astronauts on a historic mission around the far side of the Moon, the first humans to travel beyond the Earth orbit in more than 50 years. The Orion capsule's main engine executed a 5-minute 55-second translunar injection TLI burn, which mission officials described as flawless, propelling the crew thousands of kilometers per hour towards a trajectory that will take them even farther from the Earth than any human in nearly 50 years. The 4 astronauts on the Artemis 2 mission are NASA's Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina S. Koch, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, the first non-American to travel to the Moon. NASA said the crew was feeling pretty good as Orion began its lunar path. Orion is now in a looping course that will carry it around the far side of the Moon before returning to the Earth. NASA has stressed that the TLI does not constitute a point of no return. Controllers can still execute a rapid return trajectory if an emergency arises within the first 36 hours, while contingency plans remain in place for the remainder of the mission.
The craft has successfully separated from the core stage, and its solar arrays have been deployed as planned. Soon the crew will execute the apogee raise burn, placing the spacecraft into a stable, high Earth orbit as we prepare for the translunar injection and the journey into cislunar space.
The spacecraft systems, including engines, navigation, and life support, were checked during a day in high Earth orbit before the TLI burn. NASA estimates that Artemis 2 may surpass the Apollo 13 record for distance from the Earth, depending on timing and trajectory, underscoring the mission's role as a key milestone in renewed human exploration of the deep space. Scientists are warning that rising industrial fishing of krill in the Southern Ocean is threatening a key pillar of the Antarctic ecosystem, raising concerns about potential ripple effects across marine biodiversity and climate concerns. Scientists and conservationists have raised urgent alarms about the escalating industrial fishing of krill in the Southern Ocean, warning that the tiny creatures, a key foundation of the Antarctic marine food web, face mounting pressure that could destabilize the region's fragile ecosystem. Krill, the small shrimp-like organisms found in vast swarms across the Southern Ocean, are a crucial food source for whales, penguins, seals, and seabirds. They also play a significant role in ocean carbon cycling and climate regulations. Researchers from the Ocean Conservation Organization under the pole, who have been diving among krill swarms in icy Antarctic waters, describe the species as being at the very base of the entire food chain and warn that the current industrial fishing activities risk pushing the ecosystem towards a tipping point. Scientists have expressed concern that krill populations are under rising threat from fleets of large industrial trawlers, harvesting them for products such as fish meal, aquacultural feed, and omega-3 supplements. Scientists caution that continued pressure on krill stocks, when combined with climate-driven changes, could have cascading effects on marine biodiversity and food security for species that depend on krill. The situation underscores broader concerns about sustainable fisheries management in one of the planet's most remote and vulnerable environments. A centuries-old geisha dance in Japan's Kyoto has returned to the stage, signaling the arrival of spring as performers in elaborate kimonos open the annual Miyako Odori amid blooming cherry blossoms. A centuries-old spring tradition has begun in the historic city of Kyoto, where geishas perform the annual Miyako Odori dance against a backdrop of blooming cherry blossoms. The performance, staged in Kyoto's Gion district, marks the arrival of spring and showcases refined cultural practices that date back to more than a century. Dressed in elaborate kimonos, the geishas moved in carefully choreographed sequences reflecting seasonal themes tied to renewal and nature. Kyoka Sugiura, head of the Yashaka Nukpa Gakuyen, a training school for geishas, described the event as a defining symbol of the season. She noted that just as cherry blossoms signal the onset of spring across Japan, the Miyako Odori remains a key cultural tradition in Kyoto. The annual spectacle continues to draw both domestic and international audiences, underscoring the enduring appeal of Japan's traditional arts amid modern cultural shifts. Organizers say ticket demand has remained strong, with many performances selling out early in the season. Local officials also highlighted the event's role in supporting the tourism and preserving intangible cultural heritage. The Miyako Odori is scheduled to run throughout April, coinciding with peak cherry blossom viewing season. Turkey hosted the traditional Turkic equestrian sport of kokboru, drawing riders from across the country to compete in a high-speed contest. The event highlighted both the athletic skill of the participants and the rich cultural heritage of this ancient nomadic tradition. The ancient Turkic equestrian sport of kokboru was held for the first time in Kayseri province, showcasing both athleticism and cultural heritage. On horseback, players from two opposing teams engaged in fierce competition to seize the goat peltry, the carcass that serves as the central element of the game. The contest demanded extraordinary strength, balance, coordination as riders maneuvered at high speed while contending with the physical challenges of both their opponents and the terrain. The event also highlighted the rich cultural and historical significance of kokboru, a sport that has long been an integral part of Turkic nomadic heritage and communal celebrations. Organizers emphasized on the importance of preserving and promoting the tradition while providing a platform for modern audiences to witness the skill, strategy, and courage required to excel in this game. Spectators described the atmosphere as electrifying, with a combination of athletic performance, traditional music, and colorful regional attire, creating an immersive cultural experience. Holy Week celebrations began across the Christian world on Palm Sunday, with Spain launching its famous Semana Santa processions in cities and towns, marked by elaborate religious pageantry and centuries-old traditions.
Young penitents gathered in the Spanish historic town of Ronda to take part in the solemn and vibrant Palm Sunday procession, marking the beginning of Spain's famed Holy Week, also known as Semana Santa. Dressed in traditional robes and pointed hoods, the young participants joined older members in a display of devotion that has been passed down through generations. Across Spain, from Sevilla to Malaga, the start of Semana Santa transforms cities and towns into stages of religious pageantry and cultural expression. Brotherhoods carry elaborate floats depicting scenes from the Passion of Christ through narrow streets lined with spectators as the sound of drums, trumpets, and solemn marching bands fills the air. In Ronda, the participation of young penitents highlights the enduring importance of tradition among newer generations. Families often take pride in passing down membership in brotherhoods, ensuring that these centuries-old customs continue to thrive. The processions are not only acts of faith, but also significant cultural events that attract visitors from around the world. As the week unfolds, each day will bring its own processions and rituals, culminating in Easter Sunday celebrations. For many in Spain, Semana Santa is a deeply moving time that blends spirituality, artistry, and community, offering a powerful reflection of the country's rich cultural and religious heritage.
The Eurovision Song Contest is expanding into Asia for the first time, with 10 countries confirmed so far to participate in a new regional edition set to conclude with a live final in Bangkok on November the 14th. Known for its glitzy stage costumes and sometimes outlandish performances, the Eurovision Song Contest is now launching its first ever Asia edition. Broadcasters from 10 countries in the region, including South Korea, Thailand, and the Philippines, have confirmed that they will be taking part, adding more countries to follow. These countries will first host their own national selections before the grand final in Bangkok, which will be broadcast live on 14 November. Martin Green, director of the Eurovision Song Contest at the EBU, said, "With the 2026 marking its 70th anniversary, it felt especially meaningful to open the next chapter with Asia, a region rich with culture, creativity, and talent." First held in 1956, Eurovision has grown into the world's longest-running international music competition. This is not the first time Eurovision has tried to expand beyond its core competition. In 2022, it held the American Song Contest, which saw representatives from all 50 U.S. states. However, this stateside edition, hosted by Snoop Dogg and Kelly Clarkson, suffered from poor viewership and was not renewed for a second year. It seems organizers hope an Asian contest will be more successful. Rising incomes, thriving social media, and young people who adore K-pop and karaoke have all given Asia's music business a boost over the years. Global music labels have also been investing in the continent, while there has been a growing number of collaborations between Asian artists and Western names. A traditional sport dating back to pre-Columbian times is gaining renewed attention in southeastern Mexico as practitioners work to preserve and modernize this ancient Maya ball game.
A traditional sport dating back to pre-Columbian times is gaining renewed attention in southeastern Mexico as practitioners work to preserve and modernize the ancient Maya ball game. Teams of 4 players wearing protective cloth around the pelvis compete to control a heavy rubber ball on course carved into the ground, symbolizing the Maya underworld. The game, once central to ritual and social life in ancient Maya civilization, is now being reintroduced through organized matches and cultural initiatives across the region. The revival effort has expanded participation beyond its historical roots, with women increasingly joining teams and international exhibitions, bringing the sport to wider audiences. Organizers say these changes are part of a broader push to ensure the game's survival in a contemporary context. Despite growing interest, players and advocates say the sport lacks formal recognition and funding from Mexican sports authorities. They are calling for institutional support, including investment in training facilities and inclusion in official cultural and athletic programs. Supporters argue that preserving the game is not only about sport but also about safeguarding indigenous heritage. As momentum builds, they hope increased visibility will translate into sustained backing from government and cultural institutions.
Well, this brings us to the end of this episode of The World This Week. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did bringing it to you. We shall see you again next week with a new episode. Also, do follow us on our website www.nepaltelevision.com, our social media handles, as well as our YouTube channel. Till then, take care and bye-bye.
A city known for its legacy, Kirtipur. Locals also call it Kipu in their own dialect. It is the largest ancient settlement after Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. The city still has an impressive Malla-era neighborhood. It is also home to Taudaha, the largest lake in the Kathmandu Valley. There are temples, monasteries, bihars, and stupas for both Hindu and Buddhist devotees, along with countless festivals and ritual celebrations that altogether give Kirtipur its distinct and special character. With its ancient Newar settlements, this place is a beautiful convergence of Newar culture and heritage. The 2nd century settlements here, the temples and the stupas, along with the legends and the faiths surrounding them, are fascinating. Situated beside the Kathmandu Valley, which once was a natural lake itself, Kirtipur developed as a flourishing hub of early settlement and culture. Because of this, the area is exceptionally valuable for historical and cultural study. A long time ago, the children of Kirtipur's farming families apparently made a clay tiger to play with while herding sheep and goats. To make the tiger look even more lifelike, they wanted to add a tongue. So they left their sheep and goats nearby and went into the forest to gather leaves. Upon returning, the children found their sheep and goats missing. And when they investigated, the clay tiger opened its blood-red mouth and claimed to have eaten the animals. Apparently, what had happened was that the deity Bhairav, a Hindu deity, had entered the clay tiger. In their anger, the children then cursed the clay tiger so that its mouth would remain perpetually open. This is the famous legend behind the Bagh Bhairav temple as remembered by the residents of Kirtipur. Bagh Bhairav is the revered deity of Kirtipur's residents. Situated in Kirtipur, this temple is accompanied by several smaller temples, many of which can be traced back to the 2nd century according to the historical records. Among them are temples dedicated to Yamaleshwar, Narayan, Bhavani Shankar, Ramchandra, Manavinayak, Vishwakarma, Sridhar Vishnu and Mool Ganesh, all of which were constructed in the 2nd century as per many inscriptions. The historical records mention that the Bagh Bhairav temple, originally made by Shivadev, was again renovated in the 16th century by Jagatpal Varma into a 3-tiered pagoda style. This makes the temple a central attraction of Kirtipur. Most Newar settlements, which are one of Nepal's ethnic groups, are adorned with temples and stupas. So Kirtipur is home to countless temples and stupas as well, too many to count by hand. The Uma Maheshwar temple here is located at the highest point in Kirtipur. From here, one can take in panoramic views of the entire Kathmandu Valley. Swayambhu, an ancient Buddhist stupa, is clearly visible from this vantage point. It is said that the temple's elevation is roughly the same as that of Swayambhu's. On clear days, the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, can also be seen from here. Uma Maheshwar, representing the Hindu deities of Shiva and Parvati in another form, is considered a symbol of family happiness and love. The temple's tiered roofs, its design, the surrounding houses, and the views are not only beautiful but also reflect its historical significance. It is an excellent place to explore and spend an entire day. Kirtipur is special not only for Hindu devotees but also for Buddhists. Its stupas and vihars are ideal for the study, research, and promotion of Buddhism. The Chilancho Stupa, located atop the hill, is said by historians to have been built during Emperor Ashok's visit to Nepal. Its renovation, however, took place in the 16th century during the time of Jagatpal Varma. This site is ideal for prayer and meditation. It feels like Chilancho spreads wisdom along with its fluttering flags under the open sky. It is said that seeing the hills surrounding the Chilancho Stupa, Prithvi Narayan Shaha, the 18th century king who unified Nepal, coveted Kirtipur. His attempts to capture Kirtipur, intended to make conquering Kathmandu, Bhaktapur and Patan easier, only succeeded on the third try.
किर्तिपुरको चाहिँ लोकेसनै अलिकति स्ट्रेटेजिकली एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण लोकेसनमा छ हैन किनभने किर्तिपुर अब पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि के लाग्यो भने किर्तिपुर यो डाँडाको छ डाँडामाथि छ डाँडामा चाहिँ एउटा त्यति बेला चाहिँ किल्लाको रूपमा पनि थियो हैन त्यो भएको नालले चाहिँ किर्तिपुर जित्यो भने अरु चाहिँ सजिलै जित्न सकिन्छ भन्ने खालको पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि लागेको थियो हैन त्यसले गर्दाखेरि उले चाहिँ काठमाडौँ भ्यालीलाई काठमाडौँ यो जुन तीनवटा शहर र यो भ्यालीलाई आफ्नो कन्ट्रोलमा राख्न अगाडि सबभन्दा पहिला किर्तिपुरमा कन्ट्रोल लिन सक्यो भने यहाँबाट चाहिँ अनि चाहिँ अरुलाई अरु एरियामा चाहिँ सजिलैसँग कन्ट्रोलमा लिन सकिन्छ भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ उले चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ टार्गेट बनाएको हो एउटा कुरा त यो स्ट्रेटेजिकली उचाइमा परेको हुनाले र यसमा पनि यहाँको कोर बस्ती भनेको चाहिँ डाँडाबाट माथि आउनु पर्ने र त्यति बेला तपाईले सुन्नु भए पनि होला किर्तिपुर चाहिँ पुरा गढ पर्खालले घेरिएको थियो त्यो घेरिएको हुनु र चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ 12 वटा ढोकाहरू चाहिँ थियो र 12 वटा ढोकाबाट मात्र प्रवेश गर्न सकिने त्यस्तो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ स्ट्रेटेजिकली एउटा चाहिँ यो कोर्टको रूपमा वा चाहिँ गढको रूपमा चाहिँ विकास भएको पाइन्छ फर्स्ट वारमा चाहिँ कालुपाँडे चाहिँ बर्ड भयो कालुपाँडे मार्यो त्यसपछि चाहिँ के भनाइ छ भने किर्तिपुरहरूले चाहिँ कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ जात्रा गरेको हामी जित्यौं भनेर जात्रा गर्यो भन्ने छ अब त्यो हिस्टोरिकली छ कतिको फ्याक्ट छ थाहा छैन त्यसले गरेर त्यो भनेको चाहिँ त्यो पनि अब त्यो रिस्क त छ नि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई अनि अर्को के छ भने सेकेन्ड वारमा चाहिँ फेरि चाहिँ आफ्नै भाइको चाहिँ आँखा फुटिएको छ हैन त्यसरी दुई पल्ट चाहिँ उले चाहिँ एकदमै हार त्यो पनि हार पनि एकदमै हार मात्र हैन त्यो अब कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन पुरा खुसियालले मनाउनु भनेको त्यसले गरेको चाहिँ एकदमै त्यो ह्युमिलिएट भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पछि जब उ सत्तामा आयो भए चाहिँ जब उले कन्ट्रोलमा लियो उले चाहिँ बर्बर तरिकाले नै यो किर्तिपुरहरूलाई पनि दुःख दिनुपर्छ भनेर दुःख दिएकै हो
This stupa houses the Pancha Buddha, the depiction of 5 knowledge of Buddha. Facing east is Akshobhya, mounted on an elephant and with earth-touching gestures. Facing south is Ratnasambhav, mounted on a horse and showing the Varad Mudra, which is a gesture of generosity and granting boons. Facing north is Amitabh, seated on a peacock in the meditation mudra, symbolizing infinite light and compassion. Facing west is Amogha, seated on a Garud with the Nag hood in Abhay Mudra, a gesture of fearlessness and protection. At the center sits Vairochan, mounted on a lion and invisible, imparting profound knowledge of Buddhism. The presence of these 5 Buddhas is believed to guide those who have lost their way, whether it is in spiritual seeking or in travel. The stupas, vajras and stone statues here are enchanting, capable of captivating visitors for hours. In Panga of Kirtipur, there is a cremation site. The deceased of the Panga community are cremated here, but this place is different from others. According to local tradition, one cannot stay behind after setting the body on fire. Normally in other places in Hindu tradition, after the cremation, the ashes are collected after a process that can take up to hours. Here, however, bodies are covered with 9 pieces of wood for adults and 7 for children, along with water-soaked straw. Then the fire is lit before it is time to leave the site. This tradition is only for the people of Panga. Next to the burial ground stands the Vishnu Devi temple, one of the several Shakti Peeth or sacred power sites of the people of Kirtipur. The area is peaceful and known for its spiritual atmosphere. Kirtipur is not only famous for its monasteries and chaityas, it is also rich in history and culture. This place is known for its year-round festivals, rituals, and vibrant cultural way of life. Among the important festivals are the Satgaunle Jatra, Gai Jatra, Bagh Bhairav Jatra, and Indrayani Jatra. On the day of Gai Jatra, a special dance is performed here. The Dhya Dhya Papa dance, also called Kathmar, is a ceremonial performance where dancers in unique costumes move to traditional music. It is an integral part of Kirtipur's cultural identity. Here, visitors can also find various hotels, homestays, and Newari restaurants. The Newari-style houses and pathways decorated with traditional materials are truly captivating, and the popular Newari restaurants, which draw people from all around, are plentiful. A beautiful example of Newari culture is Newari food, which include famous dishes like bara, yumari, and samay bhaji. And visitors relish these dishes with great enjoyment.
अनि अरु भनेको यो सफुमिजा सफुमिजा पनि विशेष मान्छेले रुचाउने समय बजी बारा विभिन्न मान्छे पछि फरक छ तर विशेष चाहिँ समय बजी सफुमिजा भेरे आउनुहुन्छ अनि छाङ रक्सी विशेष यहाँको गहना जस्तै नै नेवालानामा यहाँको छाङ रक्सी भनेको एकदमै ओरिजिनल हैन ओरिजिनालिटी भएर चाहिँ मान्छेहरु यहाँको खानामा या छाङ रक्सीमा पनि कुनै मिसावट नभएको चाहिँ प्रुफ भएर चाहिँ सबै मान्छे छाङ खानाको लागि पनि आउनुहुन्छ समय बजीमा अब 12 थरी 13 थरी छन् हैन त्यो पनि हाम्रो शरीरको अर्गानिकमा सबै ठाउँमा चाहिँ सबैमा चाहिने हामी यो विशेष हाम्रो चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ के भनौं शुभ दिनमा चाहिँ हामी यो पूजा सजा गरेर समयबजी खाने चलन छ नि यो खाली पेटमा हैन त्यो भनेको एउटा राम्रो स्वास्थ्यको लागि एकदमै राम्रो समयबजी भयो अनि भोज चाहिँ हाम्रो एकदमै वैज्ञानिकता हैन अब एकदमै राम्रो तरिकाले चाहिँ नेवारी भोज चाहिँ खुवाउने गर्छौं हामी विशेष यहाँदेखि यो पाचन शक्तिलाई पनि एकदमै ध्यानमा राखेर चाहिँ यो पछि यो भनेर तातो चिसो मिलाएर चाहिँ अन्त्यसम्म चाहिँ खुवाउने चाहिँ एकदमै शरीरको लागि चाहिँ साइन्टिफिक प्रुफ नै छ के हाम्रो खानामा चाहिँ
Just before entering Kirtipur, you arrive at another beautiful spot, Taudaha. Known for its environmental, cultural, and religious significance, this pond stretches about 500 meters in length and 400 meters in width. It is said to be shaped like a funnel. Believed to be dwelling place of Karkotak Nag, a serpent king in Hindu-Buddhist mythology. This lake is closely linked to the legends of Manjushri, a Hindu-Buddhist mythological figure, and the Rato Machindranath Jatra. According to the folklore, when the Kathmandu Valley was still a lake, Manjushri cut open the hills to draw the water. The serpents living there were left without a home, so Bhimsen, a powerful heroic figure in Nepali folklore, created Taudaha to shelter them. The famous photo or vest displayed during the Rato Machindranath Jatra also traces its origins to Karkotak Nagraj and Taudaha. Legend says the vest belonged to Karkotak Nagraj, who gifted it to a farmer after the farmer cured his sick serpent queen.
हाम्रो भ्याली चाहिँ एउटा लेक थियो भन्ने चाहिँ छ अनि त्यो लेक हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ अब मन्जुश्री चाहिँ आइपुग्नु भयो यो काठमाडौँ भ्यालीमा अनि उहाँले चाहिँ अब यहाँ चाहिँ तपाईको मानव बस्ती बसाउँछु भनेर एउटा सोच राख्नुभयो त्यो क्रममा चाहिँ तपाईको जुन एउटा भ्याली चाहिँ लेक थियो अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ तपाईको बीचमा एउटा कमलको फूल थियो अनि त्यसबाट चाहिँ स्वयम्भूनाथ चाहिँ स्थापना भयो भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यसलाई रिलेट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि तपाईको मन्जुश्रीले चाहिँ यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ मानव बस्ती बसाउनको लागि तपाईको यो चोबार हाम्रो चोबारको गलछेडो चाहिँ काट्नु भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो कमलको फूल चाहिँ तपाईको स्वयम्भू भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो गलछेडोबाट चाहिँ तपाईको अब सबै पानी सँगसँगै पानीमा हुने सबै चीज बगेर जाने भयो अनि त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको नागहरू पनि त्यसमा पर्यो अनि नाग चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो नाग गएपछि चाहिँ अब यो पानी नपर्ने खडेरी लाग्ने तपाईको विभिन्न हिस्ट्री किम्वदन्ती अनुसार तपाईको अनि त्यो हुन्छ भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो कर्कोटक नाग राजालाई चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँ ल्याएर चाहिँ मन्जुश्रीले स्थापना गर्नुभयो भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ। मसिन्द्रनाथ चाहिँ तपाईको पानीको देवता भनेर पनि चिन्छौँ हामीले पानीको लागि चाहिँ मसिन्द्रनाथको पूजा गर्ने यो हाम्रो जात्रा गर्ने यो चाहिँ तपाईको त्योसँग भयो अनि प्लस तपाईको त्यो जुन मसिन्द्रनाथको तपाईको भोटो चाहिँ जुन भोटो चाहिँ त्यो जात्रामा देखाइन्छ त्यो भोटो पनि हाम्रो यहाँको नागले चाहिँ तपाईको दिनुभएको भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ। त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँको नागको चाहिँ तपाईको एउटा किसानले चाहिँ उपचार गरिदिनु भएको थियो आँखाको अनि त्यो उपचार गर्दैपछि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको एउटा गिफ्ट यो भोटो चाहिँ तपाईलाई भनेर किसानलाई दिनुभएको थियो र त्यो किसान चाहिँ तपाईको काम गर्दा गर्दै खेतमा बारीमा एउटा काम गर्दा गर्दै तपाईको त्यो भोटो राखेर तपाईको काम गरिरहँदाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा भूतले चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो भोटो चोरेर लग्यो अरे अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ तपाईको चोरेर लाँदाखेरि अनि फेरि त्यो खोज्दाखेरि अब कहीँ पत्ता लागेन अनि एक दिन चाहिँ यही जात्रामा तपाईको जात्रामा गइराख्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो भोटो लगाएर आएको चाहिँ देखेर त्यो किसानले अनि मेरो भोटो भनेर त्यहाँ अब वार भयो भनौँ न अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ जस मसिन्द्रनाथले चाहिँ लिएर यो चाहिँ प्रमाण जसले ल्याउन सक्छ भोटोको मेरो हो भनेर उसैको हुन्छ यो भोटो भनेर चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो मसिन्द्रनाथको जात्रामा चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यो भोटो देखाउने चलन छ र त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी रिलेटेड छ यो चाहिँ हामीसँग।
Taudaha is rich not only in religious and cultural significance but also in biodiversity. The area is home to 38 species of plants, 36 species of insects, and 116 types of birds. Swans gliding across the lake, birds perched in nearby trees, colorful fish swimming below, and small snakes seen occasionally along the banks. All of it make it easy to lose track of time while observing this vibrant ecosystem. In winter, birds migrate here from Siberia, Mongolia, and Tibet to escape the cold. Species such as lahari, kalihas, khoya, malak, and birds like great cormorant and Indian pond heron are also found here at Taudaha. These migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers from various countries to reach this lake. As a wetland area, Taudaha hosts water, land, vegetation, aquatic animals, amphibians, and other wildlife all in one place. For this reason, the lake attracts everyone
from casual tourists to students conducting research.
स्वदेशी पर्यटकहरू चाहिँ महिनामा मैले भन्नुपर्दा एभरेजमा भन्छु हैन 10 देखि 15,000 सम्म आउनुहुन्छ विदेशी पर्यटकहरू पनि आउनुहुन्छ 500 देखि महिनामा 1000 सम्म आन्तरिक पर्यटकहरू आउनुहुन्छ अनि हाम्रो यो पुस माघ जुन जाडो सिजन हुन्छ नि त्यसमा चाहिँ बच्चाहरूको यो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउने बच्चाहरू चाहिँ धेरै त्यो सिजनमा चाहिँ धेरै बच्चाहरू ल्याउनुहुन्छ अनि अघि पछि पनि हाम्रो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा बच्चाहरू स्कुलबाट पनि आउनुहुन्छ अनि प्लस यो अब कलेजका विद्यार्थीहरू जुन इन्भाइरोमेन्ट साइन्स पढ्ने विद्यार्थीहरू हुन्छन् हैन त्यस्ताहरू पनि अब यो पानीको माछाको यिनीहरूको पनि रिसर्च गर्न पनि विद्यार्थीहरू आउनुहुन्छ यहाँ नेपालीलाई चाहिँ पर पर्सन 30 रुपैयाँ छ विदेशीलाई 50 रुपैयाँ अनि हाम्रो जुन स्कुल कलेजबाट शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउनुहुन्छ नि उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले 50% डिस्काउन्ट दिन्छौँ.
As tourist numbers increase, so have vendors selling fish feed around Taudaha. These traders who stay around the lake from morning to evening occasionally also encounter snakes. But believing the snakes to represent Karkotak Nagraj, the traders drive them away by just burning incense.
बिहान 10 बजेतिर आउँछु अनि 5 बजेसम्म बस्छु अब कहिले 10 किलो निस्किदिन्छ कहिले 5 किलो कहिले अब यस्तै 1-2 किलो मात्रै जान्छ म बसेको चाहिँ भयो 14 वर्ष भयो अब पहिला भनेको व्यापार त्यति हुन्थेन अब अहिले भनेको जस बिहान बेलुका खानालाई चाहिँ पुग्छ दिनको कहिले 1200 नि हुन्छ कहिले 2250 नि हुन्छ कहिले 1-200 हुन्छ कहिले 20 रुपैयाँ मात्रै नि हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ हुँदैन जस सँगाली राख्दाखेरि महिनामा 8-10 हजार चाहिँ हुन्छ परारको साल कताबाट सर्व आए देखिन मैले हैन पछि चाहिँ मेरो डडालामा आइपुग्या त्यो सर्व अनि म डडाइ मैले आँखा चिम्ली अनि सुल्ल आफै सर्व चाहिँ उता तलतिर गयो पोखरीतिरै.
Just before reaching Taudaha, Chobar is a unique tourist spot in Kirtipur. Manjushri Park here is one of the popular picnic destinations. The cave, Chobar Gorge, Suspension Bridge, Jalvinayak Temple and Adinath Lokeshwar Temple are all must-visit sites. This gorge is said to be where Manjushri cut the hills to drain water from the Kathmandu Valley, making it suitable for human settlement. Therefore, this place holds historical and mythological significance. Jalvinayak Temple is located along the Bagmati River. Among Kathmandu Valley's 4 main Ganesh temples, Surya Vinayak, Chandra Vinayak and Ashok Vinayak, Jalvinayak is one of them. It is built in traditional pagoda style. Toran or archways, tudal or roof struts, and gajur or pinnacles enhance its architectural beauty. So this temple is significant both for religious faith and for historical and architectural value. Spread over 14.76 square kilometers, Kirtipur has many places to explore, which cannot be fully visited in a single day. Its heritage, lifestyle, and festivals are all unique. To guide tourists before visiting, a tourist information and service center has been established. It lies near the Kirtipur's entry point. This center provides information about major tourist attractions and helps make the visit easier. Exploring Kirtipur's historical, religious, cultural, and natural sites is incredibly enchanting. These sites are witnesses to history. For research and study, visiting Kirtipur is essential. The local lifestyle, daily life, the breeze, and the scent of the soil here, all of it are very special. In modern times, as ancient civilizations threaten to vanish, Kirtipur strives to maintain its ancient identity. Its monasteries, temples, chaityas, ponds, markets, and even the language reflect this heritage. Kirtipur is not just a tourist destination. It offers experiences of meditation and knowledge, and of peace and beauty. Its stories and hospitality attract everyone. To witness and feel the unique confluence of history, culture, and nature, visiting Kirtipur is a must, not just once, but again and again.
जानुभएको छ म पनि पुगेर आएँ दुधकुण्ड असाध्यै पवित्र स्थल यो हिमाल काखमा रहेको तीर्थस्थल हो पुण्यस्थल हो देवस्थल हो र त्यहाँ चाहिँ एकचोटि पुग्नै पर्दो रहेछ त्यहाँ पुगेर जुन आनन्दको अनुभूति हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ कहीँ पनि पाइँदैन भन्ने चाहिँ महसुस भयो
आनन्द लाग्यो भएन मस्त लाग्यो अनि यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ आएर तपस्या गरेर बस्नु जस्तो जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई
एकदमै राम्रो लाग्यो हैन प्रकृतिले दिएको रमणीय तीर्थस्थल हैन जो कोही पनि एकचोटि चाहिँ यहाँ आएर एकचोटि भ्रमण गरेर दर्शन
RSP Vice Chair Aurial elected House Speaker unopposed. Chair Lamithane dismisses rumors of negotiations for the deputy. Nepal Supreme Court orders schools to start student enrollment only after exams, directs to wait until next session. Nepal government starts sweeping crackdown against foreign employment defaulters. Minister Shah warns to stern action. Government to take over stalled infrastructure projects through state-owned company. Legal amendments within 30 days. Government evacuates more than 86,000 Nepalis from the Middle East. Foreign Ministry warns against posting appalling contents on social media. And Middle East tension escalates as Iran strikes UAE, Bahrain and Israel. UN Security Council delays Hormuz vote. Hello there, I'm Diksha Wasti. You're watching NTV World. News are becoming live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Dol Prasad DP Aurial, Deputy Chairman of Nepal's Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP, has been elected unopposed as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. His sole candidacy was registered by the deadline today and he will be formally declared Speaker in the House meeting on Sunday, April 5. Aurial's nomination was proposed by RSP President Rabi Lamithane and supported by several ministers including Soni Mwagle, Sobita Gautam and Sunil Lamsal. Elected to Parliament from Kathmandu's constituency number 9, 51-year-old Aurial previously served as deputy leader of the RSP Parliamentary Party and acting president of the party. Aurial has also held the position of Minister of Labour, Employment and Social Security on 2 occasions before. RSP President Rabi Lamithane said no discussions have been held with other parties on the Deputy Speaker post, adding talks will begin only after the Speaker is elected. Lamithane stressed that the party operates under public audit, ensuring transparency in its decisions. Lamithane also said the party will act without prejudice, prioritizing justice, including for Martyrs' family.
उपसभामुखको छलफलमा प्रवेश गरेका छैनौं हामी पहिला सभामुखको सकौं त्यसपछि अनि त्यसलाई छलफल गरौँला भनेर हामी उपसभामुखको छलफलको चरणमा चाहिँ प्रवेश गरेका छैनौं अहिले
Nepal's Supreme Court has issued an interim order directing schools to begin student admissions only after the academic session officially starts. The order by Justice Balkrishna Dhaka states that admission notices must not be published before exam results are released and required documents are submitted in line with existing regulations. The court stressed maintaining coordination between exam results, session commencement and document submission, noting some schools had ignored prior directives. It has also ordered concerned authorities to comply with the law and submit a written response within 15 days. The government has begun implementing its commitments, allowing migrant workers to conduct health checkups at government facilities, though concerns remain over acceptance by destination countries and long-term stability. Labour Minister Deepak Kumar Shah said the government is fully committed to enforcing the decision. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Employment reported that complaints were filed against 352 individuals for foreign employment fraud in March. Authorities said the cases were registered through FIRs and the names of the accused have been made public. We will see more on this in our Issue of the Day segment later in the bulletin. The Department of Foreign Employment has filed a complaint against 352 individuals for foreign employment fraud in March, with FIRs registered and names of the accused made public. Meanwhile, the government has introduced reforms allowing migrant workers to undergo medical checkups at government facilities at lower costs. Labour Minister Deepak Kumar Shah said the move reflects the government's commitment from day one, though concerns remain about its acceptance in destination countries and long-term stability. The changes are seen as an effort to bring transparency and relief to aspiring migrant workers. We will look more into this in our segment cover story later in the bulletin.
11 Nepalis have been arrested in Middle East countries for posting photos and videos on social media that spread rumors about the ongoing war between Israel, the US and Iran. 4 were detained in Saudi Arabia, 3 each in UAE and Qatar, and 1 in Oman. Ministry of Foreign Affairs said posting such materials to incite fear is punishable under the law. Spokesperson Lok Bahadur Paudel Chhetri added that embassies are being informed about the arrested citizens and efforts to their release are underway.
वैशाखी चैत्र 13 को निर्णयबाट स्वीकृत शासकीय सुधार सम्बन्धी 100 कार्यसूचीको बुँदा नम्बर 95 मा नेपालमा पर्न सक्ने बहुआयामिक प्रभावहरूको समयमै मूल्याङ्कन तथा व्यवस्थापन गर्न सम्बन्धित मन्त्रालयहरू परराष्ट्र श्रम अर्थ उद्योग आपूर्ति ऊर्जा लगायतको प्रतिनिधित्व रहने गरी एक उच्च स्तरीय अन्तर मन्त्रालय अध्ययन कार्यदल गठन गरेर उक्त कार्यदलले अल्पकालीन मध्यकालीन र दीर्घकालीन नीतिगत तथा कार्यक्रमगत उपायहरू सहित प्रतिवेदन पेश गर्ने निर्णय अनुसार उच्च स्तरीय कार्यदल गठन भई प्रतिवेदन तयार पार्ने कार्य सुरु भइसकेको छ।
Iran launched retaliatory strikes across the Middle East, targeting the UAE, Bahrain and Israel following earlier US-Israeli attacks on its industrial sites. Key infrastructure was hit, including damage to a Kuwaiti power and desalination complex and a fire that halted operations at Abu Dhabi's Habshan gas facility. Israeli air defenses intercepted incoming Iranian missiles with no immediate casualties reported, while Iranian strikes also targeted US-linked industrial facilities and Israeli arms factories. A major highway bridge linking Tehran and Karaj was rendered unusable in US-Israeli strikes as the UN Security Council delayed a vote on securing the Strait of Hormuz amid rising tensions. Meanwhile, Iran's Fars news agency reported that the army has launched a search for a US fighter jet pilot after the aircraft was shot down over central Iran, possibly crashing in Kogi-Luye and Boer Ahmad province. Authorities have urged local residents to assist in locating the pilot, even offering a bounty, while state TV aired footage said to show the wreckage. Nepal cracks down on foreign employment fraud, filing cases against 352 individuals in just 1 month. At the same time, the government rolls out reasonable medical checkups for migrant workers through public labs. But questions remain. Will these reforms hold, and will destination countries accept them? We have talked to the minister about these concerns and incorporated the details in our Issue of the Day segment. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World News Hour. I'm Diksha Awasthi. Now on to Issue of the Day. The Department of Foreign Employment under the Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security has announced that formal complaints related to foreign employment fraud were registered against 352 individuals in a month. According to an official notice, First information reports, that is FIRs, were filed at the department's investigation and litigation branch between March 1 and March 31, 2026 against the 352 defendants made public by the department. The cases concern individual fraud offences linked to foreign employment. The department also published the names of the defendants along with public notice. The government has started sweeping change in the foreign employment sector, beginning with the medical checkup. The move to allow migrant workers to do health checkup in government laboratories at cheaper cost has come as a welcome relief. Our correspondent Anjir Singh Biswakarma looks into the issue.
Nepali workers going abroad for employment are now free from the compulsion to visit expensive private medical colleges for health checkup. The government has started the facility of health checkup in public hospitals and reduced the fee for orientation training to 700 rupees. Earlier, the workers had to pay high fees as they had to go only to designated private medical practitioners. The workers have welcomed the government's decision as a huge sigh of relief.
आर्थिक मन्दी छ नेपालमा रोजगारको व्यवस्था छैन रोजगारको सुविधा छैन यो विगत जुन सिन्डिकेट प्रणाली लागू गरेको थियो त्यो अहिलेको सरकारले पहिलो चरणमा खारेज गरेकोमा म यो सरकारलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु.
The Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security has meanwhile made the provision to provide orientation online as well. The ministry believes this will be cost effective as well as transparent.
Pre-departure orientation training भनेर हामी दिन्छौं त्यसको चाहिँ शुल्क 700 रुपैयाँ काम गरेको छ. वैदेशिक रोजगारमा जाने हाम्रो श्रमिकहरूलाई स्वास्थ्य परीक्षण गर्न सहज होस् हैन त्यसपछि उहाँहरुको एफोर्डेबल होस् सहज होस् सजिलै एक्सेस होस् र यसरी चाहिँ स्वास्थ्य चेक जाँच गर्ने संस्थाहरुको पनि कम्पिटिसन बढोस् भनेर हामीले चाहिँ त्यो निर्णय गरेका हौं.
The government's move has ended the monopoly of private medical practitioners and laboratories, as well as erased the mediators from the scene. The ministry has also warned of stern action against anyone not abiding by the ministry directive.
विदेशी रोजगारमा पठाइदिन्छु भनेर विदेशमा पठाउने प्रतिवादीलाई 3 देखि 7 वर्षसम्म कैद र बिगोको 50% सम्म हर्जना समेत भराइदिने कानुनी व्यवस्था छ सोही अनुसार प्रदायक हुन्छ.
The government's decision is believed to reduce the financial burden of thousands of migrant workers. Although many have welcomed the move, some are skeptical about its effective long-term implementation.
The government, as per the party's commitment paper, had jumped into action from the first day at the office. The government's directive to allow migrant workers to do their health checkup in government facilities have come as relief to many aspirants. However, some are skeptical if the move will be accepted by the employer in the destination country or will the move be sustainable. We asked Member for Labour, Employment and Social Security Deepak Kumar Shah how serious the government is in implementing the decisions.
I would like to assure everyone, and especially the diplomatic mission and the employers, that the capacity of Nepali laboratory and health system is as per international standard. So you can have a trust on our system and our laboratory capacity. As you all know that the laboratory which we have at the government level is ISO certified as per international level. I'm looking forward to have a connection with diplomatic missions here through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So when we talk with them, communication with them, so that they can realize the capacity what we have. So we'll be soon having a formal diplomatic communication with them so that it will be easier for them to accept this process and facilitate the policies decision done by Nepal government. We are fully committed because we have a faith on our system, we have faith on our policies, we have faith on our laboratory capacities. So we have, because we have set a standards. We have set a standard to regulate the health facilities, medical facilities where these tests are taken. So we are regulating these medical centers as well as our government health centers. So we believe our government health centers and laboratories are par standard with the medical centers where these employers send the people to do medical examination. My first priority would be we are trying to mitigate the Samadhan call center problems because we are really focused on solving the problem issues fraudulent issues, especially the fraudulent issues of the migrant worker. There are around 40,000 cases pending at Department of Foreign Employment. So we are really focused on mitigating and decreasing the number of cases, fraudulent cases. So we have already started the process. We have already initiated the process of mitigating and neutralizing the numbers. So the first priority goes to decreasing the number of fraudulent cases and decreasing the number of new cases as well. If any education consultancy, travel agency, or hotel, or any other business holders, apart from the manpower, is doing this business, that's against our law. That's completely illegal. So you are not allowed to do so. So I would like to request all the Nepali workers to have faith on the Nepali manpower and pay 10,000 as a service charge, because that's very important. We abide by the policies taken by Nepal government, and we are very committed in implementing it.
That wraps up our cover issue of the day. Now we move on to our cover story. A major overhaul in infrastructure, the government moves to set up a state-run construction company to handle stalled projects. Another setback for Sunkoshi Marine Diversion project after a key contract is scrapped. More on this in our cover story of the day. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Now we move on to cover story segment. In a major overhaul of infrastructure management, the government will set up a state construction company to take over stalled projects. For this, the government will enact a law 30 days under its 100-day priority plan. The move comes amid criticism of chronic delays and contractor inefficiency, while past state-run construction efforts raised concerns over politicization and poor performance. Siksha Bhattarai with Pawan Barsha Shah brings more.
The government is preparing to establish a state-run construction company that will directly undertake stalled infrastructure projects according to its 100-day priority plan. The move aims to address delays and negligence in infrastructure projects caused by contractors' mismanagement, inefficiency, and legal complications. The government plans to make legal reforms within 30 days to facilitate the process. Under the proposed policy, the state construction company will not compete with private contractors in bidding processes. However, it will take over projects if contractors show negligence, attempt to create a syndicate, or fail to perform.
सरकारले पूर्वाधार कम्पनी खडा गरिनु आवश्यक छैन। नियम कानुन र काम गर्ने वातावरण चाहिँ उपलब्ध गराइदिएर नेपालमै भएका निर्माण व्यवसायलाई रोजगारी सिर्जना गर्ने चाहिँ सरकारले भूमिका निर्माण गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो मान्यता छ र जुन निर्माण कम्पनी उहाँले निर्माण गर्नुभएको छ निर्माण व्यवसायीहरूको रोजीरोटी नखोसियोस् किनभने निर्माण व्यवसायले धेरै ठुलो लगानी गर्नुभएको छ त्यो लगानी फेरि सरकारले आफै फेरि किन गरिरहनु पर्यो निर्माण व्यवसायीहरूकै क्षमता वृद्धि गरेर निर्माण व्यवसायलाई सक्षम बनाएर आयोजना समयमा सम्पन्न गर्ने दिउ आयोजना बनाउने धारणा लिनुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो मान्यता छ।
According to the policy under point 49 section D, if a public infrastructure tender fails twice or if a contract has to be terminated due to contractor's negligence, the government will assign the project directly to the state construction company. The company will also take over long stalled and incomplete projects. A 30-day review will be conducted to decide whether such projects will continue or be discontinued. National priority projects will see fast-track procedures for land acquisition, compensation, tree cutting, and environmental impact assessments.
त्यो 2 सालले राम्रो छ। एक त जुन कुनै निजी निर्माण व्यवसायी मित्रहरूले छोडेको काम चाहिँ त्यो कम्पनीले गर्ने भयो एउटा फाइदा। अनि दोस्रो कुरो के हुन्छ भने कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ निजी क्षेत्रका निर्माण व्यवसायीहरू चाहिँ आपसमा मिलोमतो गर्न सक्नु होला हामीलाई थाहा नहुने गरी अनि त्यस्तोमा चाहिँ सरकारी निर्माण व्यवसाय अथवा सरकारी निर्माण कम्पनी पनि त्यो प्रतिस्पर्धामा भाग लिन पाउने हो। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि त्यो सरकारी निर्माण कम्पनीसित प्रतिस्पर्धामा उहाँहरू आउनुपर्छ, उहाँहरू भित्र मिलोमत गर्न पाउनुहुन्न। त्यसको हिसाबले चाहिँ त्यसले त फाइदा छ।
The government plans to introduce an integrated and automated approval system. The initiative also aims to break what authorities describe as a contractor syndicate that delays projects through repeated deadline extensions. The state construction company will be provided with necessary resources, equipment, and skilled manpower to carry out its work. The government had previously established a similar construction company, but it was later dissolved after failing to compete with private contractors and becoming ineffective due to alleged politicization.
The construction of Sunkoshi Marine Diversion project has hit a snag after the government scrapped a failing contract due to extreme negligence. With the site deserted and project's timeline at risk, officials are now racing to finalize a new deal to get the National Pride project back on track. Our correspondent Anil Bhandari looks into the ailing project.
The construction site of Sunkoshi Marine Diversion Multi-Purpose Project, a vital national pride initiative, currently sits deserted following a major contractual breakdown. The project, designed to provide irrigation to 6 districts in the Tarai region, hit a standstill after the government terminated its agreement with the previous contractor, Patel Raman JV. The decision came after the firm showed extreme negligence, completing only 10% of the physical work, despite 61% of the contract timeline already having elapsed. With the site silent for nearly 3 months, local residents are growing increasingly anxious that the project will miss its final completion target of 2027-28 fiscal year.
यसलाई फाल्दि किन काम गरेन ल्याइरहेको छ झड्यान सामान टन्न ल्याइरहेको छ काम गर्दैन यहाँ काम अब यस्तै हो एकदम सुस्त गतिले भइरहेछन् अब कामै भएको छैन उहाँहरूले काम गरेर चाहन्छन् अब 2-2.5 वर्ष जति हुन लागि उनीहरूको भएको काम भनेको यही हो यहाँको अब यो हावा फाल्ने भनेर चाहिँ भन्छन् अब यहाँ अहिले काम भएको छैन यति नै हो.
To address this delay, the project office is in the final stages of preparing a new tender. Project officials confirm that they are currently finalizing new cost estimates and evaluating previous work to bring a more reliable contractor on board for the construction of the 30-meter high dam and the powerhouse. While the dam construction has stalled, the project has seen significant success in its underground works. A 13.3-kilometer tunnel was completed over a year ago using a tunnel boring machine. The government is now racing to finalize the new contract to ensure that this critical infrastructure for Nepal's agricultural future does not remain in limbo.
In this context, we've asked the general public what they think about the government's preparations to open an infrastructure development company. Let's see what they say in today's Public Pulse segment.
जब कामको थालनी गर्छ तब आफ्नो मनपरी रूपले गर्छ समय अवधिलाई ख्याल नगरिकन गर्छ त्यति त्यो समय अवधिलाई ख्याल नगरिकन गर्दाखेरि जुन ठाउँमा भइरहेको काम त्यो ठाउँको मानिसहरू अथवा त्यो ठाउँको जनताहरू धुवा र धुलो खाइ रहने बाध्यता भइरहेको हुन्छ.
सरकारले बनाएपछि त सबैभन्दा राम्रो कुरो हो तर काम चाहिँ राम्रो हुनुपर्ने यो बिचुलियाहरूको काम त बीचमा छैन अनि सरकारले गर्नु सक्नु पर्यो जनतालाई खुश गर्नु सक्नु पर्यो. यो पुरानो दल जस्तो गर्यो भने यो भन्दा पनि बर्बाद हुन्छ नयाँ दलले.
अच्छा दिन पुला 10 लाख के बावजूद भी कोई 400 दिल के सब ते लगे पुला पत्र पे पड़ गए सर. सरकार करते तो बढ़िया बात भी लेने सर. सरकार अपना योजना साथ चलते अपना कंपनी को तो बढ़िया है थे बीच में का जेते थे दलाल फल सब निकल जनता को सुविधा है थे.
सरकारले जुन भन्नु भएको छ त्यो चाहिँ सम्भव लाग्दैन. अब अहिले भन्नु त भएको छ तर तुरुन्तै यो तत्कालिक कार्यान्वयन हुन सक्दैन
सरकार छलै त कहलकै जल्दी चाइनीज के देवे ठेका 2 महीना में से 6 महीना में बना के दे देवे साल भर में आए तक जो क्या साल से लगभग 10 साल भेले कि 5 साल भेले अभी तक बाटो के दिक्कत छै बहुत 4 साल से पुल नहीं बन रहल छलेगा वर्षों दिन से जे विकास अगर एहि पाली में भ गेलै त बहुत खुशी वाला गप है
सरकारले आफ्नो अधीनमा लिएर यो ठेकापट्टा बिजुलीहरूले सबैलाई बहिष्कार गरेर आफ्नो मातहतमा लिएर यो काम गरोस् चाँडो गरोस् समयभन्दा पहिला अघि गरोस् पुरानो सरकार जस्तो नगर्दिनुहोस्
सरकारले अलि फिजिकल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिँ छुट्टै राखेर चाहिँ विकासको कार्यक्रमहरूलाई अगाडि बढाउने खोजेको कुरा धेरैसम्म चाहिँ यो जायज छ अब किन जायज छ भन्दाखेरि अब यो सडक बिजुली बाटो इन्टरनेट लगायत उद्योग व्यापार गर्ने कुराहरूमा चाहिँ आर्थिक विकासको आधार यो चाहिँ जनताको पहुँचसम्म पुग्न सक्छ भन्ने कुराहरूलाई यसले समेटेको छ
नीतिगत व्यवस्थामा ध्यान दिनुपर्छ जस हिसाबले हुन त होला नयाँ खालको परियोजना वा क्रियाकलाप सञ्चालन होला नयाँ सरकारले यसका निमित्त हामीले विभिन्न ऐनहरू खारेज गर्नुपर्ने आवश्यक देखिन्छ विद्यमान रूपमा रहेको ऐन कानुनहरूलाई खारेज गरेर फेरि नयाँ चरणमा जानुभन्दा पनि त्यसैको चाहिँ जगमा टेकेर नयाँ किसिमको काम गर्न सक्यो भने चाहिँ सरकारको काम प्रभावकारी र प्रभावशाली देखिन्छ
That concludes our cover story of the day. On to the remaining updates now. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has been engaging elected members of parliament from all 7 provinces to discuss the country's comprehensive development plans. Prime Minister Shah met with parliamentarians from Gandaki province at the office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. During the discussions, MPs highlighted key challenges and solutions in infrastructure, health, agriculture, tourism and river management. The parliamentarians emphasized upgrading the Siddhartha Highway, noting that it would boost economic growth and tourism across districts including Sangcha, Palpa, Rupandehi, Kapilvastu and Kaski. Earlier, Prime Minister Shah held similar consultations with representatives from Koshi, Karnali, Sudur Pashchim and Madhya provinces. Deepa Dahal has been appointed as press and research expert to Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah. The appointment was made on Friday under the Prime Minister's Advisor and Secretariat Management Procedures 2074 BS. Dahal, an investigative journalist, writer and professor, brings over 2 decades of experience across radio, television, print and digital media. Dahal has officially assumed her duties and will support the Prime Minister's communication strategy, research and media management. The appointment reflects an effort to strengthen professional expertise within the Prime Minister's Secretariat amid evolving media and governance demands. 11 Nepalis have been arrested in West Asian countries for posting photos and videos on social media that spread rumors about ongoing war between Israel, the US and Iran. 4 were detained in Saudi Arabia, 3 each in the UAE and Qatar, and 1 in Oman. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said posting such materials to incite fear is punishable under the law. Spokesperson Lokbahadur Paudel Chhetri added that embassies are being informed about the arrested citizens and efforts for their release are underway. Paudel also stated that 86,420 Nepalis have registered for assistance with returning home, and the rescue of those in transit is nearly complete. Nepal is celebrating the 76th anniversary of Radio Nepal, the country's first radio broadcaster, which began operations on April 2nd, 1951, that is Chaitra 20, 2007, as per the Nepali calendar. During the anniversary program, Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Dr. Bikram Timal Sinha, highlighted Radio Nepal's role in strengthening democracy and urged the broadcaster to remain responsible, accountable and effective in a changing media landscape. Officials emphasized modernizing the service, with Secretary Lakshmi Kumari Basnet calling for a technology-friendly approach, while PSB Executive Chairman Dr. Mahendra Bister noted its commitment to national development goals. Acting Chief Administrative Officer Vishnu Ram Neupane described the anniversary as the start of Radio Nepal's new journey as a public service broadcaster. The event also honored long-serving employees, artists, and commemorated the integration of Radio Nepal and Nepal Television into a single multilingual public service media organization. Rato Machindranath, celebrated as the god of rain and good harvest, has undergone its sacred Mahasnan ceremony in Lalitpur. According to tradition, the idol was taken from its temple at Ta Bahal and accompanied by Guruju's procession and traditional musical bands carried on a ceremonial chariot. It was then placed at a pavilion near Lagankhel beside the Mother Sima shrine, where special rituals were performed. Following the prayers, priests bathed the deity with cow's milk from all four directions. The Rato Machindranath festival, known as Nepal's longest chariot festival, will begin in Baisak 2083. The chariot will be formally erected on Baisak 5 and the pulling of the chariot will commence from Baisak 9. The traditional Gahana Khojne Jatra or jewelry searching festival was celebrated today in Hadigao, Kathmandu, highlighting Nepal's rich cultural heritage. The festival features a chariot procession of goddess Tundal Devi, which is carried around the sacred Gahana Pokhari pond 3 times. Devotees then symbolically search the pond for the goddess's lost jewelry, reenacting the ritual rooted in local legend. A second chariot representing the goddess's sister is also taken around the area, while the idol of Padmatini is brought to the Tundi Devi temple. According to tradition, the festival commemorates a mythological event involving lost jewelry, which continues to be ritually searched for each year. Time for more international front, but before that, let's have a quick recap of the headlines. RSP Vice Chair Aurel elected House Speaker unopposed. Chair Lamithane dismisses rumors of negotiations for deputy. Nepal Supreme Court orders schools to start student enrollment only after exams, directs to wait until new session. Nepal government starts sweeping crackdown against foreign employment defaulters. Minister Shah warns of stern action. Government to take over stalled infrastructure projects through state-owned company. Legal amendments within 30 days. Government evacuates more than 86,000 Nepalis from the Middle East. Foreign Ministry warns against posting appalling content on social media. And Middle East tensions escalate as Iran strikes UAE, Bahrain and Israel. UN Security Council delays Hormuz vote. A suicide car bombing killed at least 3 women and 2 children at a house in northwestern Pakistan late Thursday. According to local authorities said, the attack occurred in Bannu district in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province near the country's former tribal areas. Local police authorities said that the bomber was apparently targeting a police station but hit a civilian home in haste before reaching it. 4 others were also reportedly injured in the blast. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. Myanmar's coup leader has won a parliamentary vote to become the country's president, formalizing his grip on political power in the war-torn nation 5 years after the ousted and elected government. Senior General Min Aung Hlaing won 429 out of the 584 votes cast by MPs in the country's pro-military parliament on Friday. Aung Hlaing Dwe, the Speaker of Parliament's combined upper and lower house, confirmed the coup leading general in 2021 detained elected figurehead Aung San Suu Kyi and dissolved her party. He was anointed by pro-military MPs installed in a recent election overseen by the junta he leads. Min Aung Hlaing was among 3 candidates nominated for the post earlier this week. China accused the United States on Friday of fabricating claims that Beijing had detained Panama-flagged ships in a long-running dispute over control of the strategic Panama Canal. Relations between the United States and China soured when Panama authorities in February took control of 2 ports previously operated by a Hong Kong-based conglomerate. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had reiterated on Thursday accusations that China had detained Panama-flagged ships in response to the takeover and voiced support for the Central American nation. China's foreign ministry hit back on Friday, accusing Washington of seeking to undermine supply chains through the vital waterway, which connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans.
美方有关言论完全是无中生有、颠倒黑白。美方一再说三道四，只能暴露自身霸占运河的图谋。究竟是谁公然通过单边霸凌和胁迫破坏巴拿马运河的中立地位，破坏全球供应链的稳定、公道自在人心？中方在巴拿马有关港口问题上的立场是明确的，将坚定维护自身的正当权益。
4 astronauts on NASA's Artemis 2 mission are on their way to the moon after a successful engine burn that set them on a free return trajectory. The Orion capsule will loop around the moon and return to Earth during the 10-day mission, marking the first crewed lunar flyby in over 50 years. The U.S. Space Agency described the engine firing as flawless firing that lasted just under 6 minutes. The mission, launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, is testing systems for future human lunar landings. The astronauts, American Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Koch, along with Canadian Hansen, spent their first hours in space performing checks and troubleshooting minor problems on their spacecraft that has never carried humans before, including a communications issue and a malfunctioning toilet. Artemis 2 aims to pave the way for a planned moon landing in 2028 and future long-term lunar exploration. Now, business news coming up next. For now, a short break.
French President Emmanuel Macron highlighted Europe's business appeal and innovation potential during his visit to South Korea, stressing closer collaboration in emerging technologies. Speaking at the French-Korean Economic Forum in Seoul, Macron emphasized strengthening partnerships in biotech, artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, and semiconductors. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has encouraged a deeper collaboration with France in areas such as hydrogen technologies and space, reflecting a shared ambition to boost industrial and technological growth.
Le renforcement de nos partenariats d'innovation en biotech, il est clé dans ce contexte. Et puis on a l'intelligence artificielle, le quantique, les semi-conducteurs, où là on veut avancer avec vous. J'ai vu plusieurs entreprises, Samsung, Naver à l'instant, et vous en avez d'autres, je le sais, qui se sont développés évidemment dans le secteur avec lesquels nous avons là-dessus des partenariats. Vous l'avez évoqué à travers les technologies de rupture et la deep tech qui touchent plusieurs de ces secteurs à travers vos débats. Là aussi, on a une course effrénée. Et on sait aujourd'hui, sur ces segments, la course que les Américains sont en train de faire, que les Chinois sont en train de faire. Et ce qui nous lie, c'est qu'on n'a pas envie de dépendre d'eux. On est...
The White House announced a 100% tariff on patented medicines entering the U.S., aimed at reducing national security risk by encouraging domestic manufacturing. Companies can avoid the steep duty by committing to build U.S.-based production facilities or striking pricing deals with the government, which could reduce the tariff to 20% or even zero. Large firms have 120 days and smaller companies 180 days to finalize reshoring plans, with the possibility of exemptions under existing trade agreements with the EU, Japan, South Korea, Switzerland, and the UK. Under a separate pact, Britain will enjoy tariff-free access for 3 years, while generic medicines remain untaxed. The administration emphasized that this approach balances supply chain security with maintaining affordable access through government pricing agreements.
Now it's time for the sports news. Nepal's national climbing team is set to depart for China on Sunday to compete in major international competitions, including the Asian Games qualifiers and the World Championship circuit. The Asian Climbing Championship will take place in Misan, China from April 8 to 12, where Nepal will participate in both bouldering and lead events. The team will also compete in the World Climbing Series in Keqiao, China from May 1 to 3, focusing on the bouldering discipline. Athletes will undergo training between the two competitions to enhance their performance on the international stage. National Sports Council member Secretary Ram Charitra Mehta officially bid farewell to the team, wishing them success in the upcoming events. Now the weather updates, first from across Nepal and then the world. Well, this brings us to the end of this news bulletin. But before we wrap up, a reminder of headlines. RSP Vice Chair Orel elected House Speaker unopposed. Chair Lamitani discusses rumors of negotiations for the deputy. Nepal Supreme Court orders schools to start student enrollment only after exams, directs to wait until new session. Nepal government starts sweeping crackdown against foreign employment defaulters. Minister Shah warns of stern action. Government to take over stalled infrastructure projects through state-owned company. Legal amendments within 30 days. Government evacuates more than 86,000 Nepalis from the Middle East. Foreign Ministry warns against posting appalling contents on social media. And Middle East tensions escalate as Iran strikes UAE, Bahrain and Israel. US Security Council delays Hormuz vote. That's it for this edition of NTV World News Hour. I'm Diksha Awasthi. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.